Well, it would seem that everything's a bit fucking cocked up at the there moment. Our little tabaxi decided to go in and see if he could infiltrate the group that's been kidnapping our employer, Hellman. Not quite sure what occurred in there, but we did figure out that unfortunately those 3 guards we let go, probably went in there and gave a warning, moving around towards wherever the fort was. As far as I'm guessing here, the tabaxi probably moved in, decided he'd take care of all the business by himself, probably made his way around the place, stole the keys, and hopefully found Hellman and tried to break him out. Not quite sure what went wrong there, probably popped into someone way above his pay grade. But in any case, he's stuck in the prison, and now it's up to us to get him out. Of course, the big problem is now the group has to decide, is it worth our lives to get him out, now that we've discovered that this isn't just some fucking cave, but rather the fucking Redhorn Fort, who, by the way, let's be honest, know exactly what we're fucking after, because we talked to them just a couple days before we went in there discussing looking for Hellman. So any chance of surprise has gone out the window. And after having a lot of the conversation, discussing whether or not we should ride the back of manticores to destroy sins or hire a goblin army that we just pissed off just literally a day ago to raid the castle and kill everybody. I mean, we decided in the end that the only thing to do right now is to send Julius in to try and get in there and talk in some sort of prisoner buyout or some ridiculous fucking thing. Honestly, I'm more than happy now to leave a cat behind and just continue on our fucking way. But I was convinced to stick around, so I guess I'm in this till the end at least. Hopefully things go better than the last solo mission, but we'll only get to see. And I think that's all that really happened in the short run.
Yeah, that's fair enough. You can take a point of inspiration to use at your leisure.
I'm gonna use it to make Julius die.
What?
The choice is yours.
Reroll that.
You rolled a nat 20? Oh, great, rerolled. Nat 1, perfect.
So, Julius,
Yes.
alone, no allies around, you pass your way through the dense thicket, eventually stumbling upon a familiar path. Walking westward, you know exactly where you're going, and as the trees start to part, you can see very clearly a familiar wooden-walled fort. Just at passing glances, you notice there are a few people mounted on the walls, sentries keeping an eye out. What do you wish to do?
Julius will approach, hands kind of raised up in a placating manner, and just say, hail there.
One of them kind of turns to you, quickly confirms with another sentry that they're both kind of have see you, and one of them turns to you, a female human of about middle age. He goes, "Hail! Can we help you with something?"
Yes, I'm sorry to bother you. I'm sure you're quite busy. I come perhaps with... I'm not sure who I would speak to about this, but I have sort of a proposition for a job offer. I don't know if I would speak to... do you have a higher up I might be able to speak to about this? It's for a good deal of coin.
She kind of looks to you for a moment. I'll see if one's available, dear. Give me a moment. You watch her she gives a quick almost whistle. You see a sentry replace her. So two of them still kind of mounted on these walls. Heavy weapon, like heavy crossbows. While they're like clearly showing them, but you can kind of tell at a distance, neither of them have yet loaded. Like, it's just a show right now.
Okay.
A show clear that, like, while they don't have an intent to fire on you, like, there's a clear, like, we could. You watch as she descends the walls, and you wait with this bit of like a pit in your stomach. Feels a long time, and in truth, only maybe a few minutes pass before you do hear what is the slight door to the fort at the front kind of open and slightly shift. You can kind of see, it seems the door faces the northern direction, kind of towards where the road would be. And you see kind of a, you would see a deep red-skinned tiefling kind of start to walk out of the fort, dressed in, for the most part, simple clothes. You do notice that there is this studded leather kind of clearly outfitted over his clothes, a long leather glove that goes all the way up to the elbow on his left arm, and what looks to be wraps and wraps of bandages on his right. As the tiefling kind of approaches, you see the face heavily scarred, facial hair attempting to hide the scars, but much of it simply does not grow where the wounds were clearly made. Horns that kind of twist and curl back, similar to the insignia. As he kind of strides forward. I heard you were looking with a job offer. Is that correct?
Yes. Julius will hold out his hand in greeting. The name is Julius Bondeclair, and
Conscience. He does give a handshake. It's, for the most part, kind of limp-wristed, but it's there.
Pleasure to meet you. Are we out of earshot of the people in the distance, or it's just me talking?
You imagine that, like, if they feel the need to listen, they will. But it's not something that, like, you get a sense they'd have to strain a bit if they wanted to listen.
Hey, Nikki.
Huh?
Interesting question, but would Julius remember Conscious's voice?
Would he?
Did he say anything, or did he just throw the rose over? I could have sworn.
Julius said
So-
something. Oh wait, yes, he did talk.
Because that's how we name or recognized it.
You know, I told you guys the name.
Oh, you did?
Metagame.
Okay,
Yeah.
never mind. Never mind. My bad.
But Conscious and Julius had a talk between the wall after the singing, right?
Very briefly, you both shared about a sentence each, and that was it.
Would I recognize the voice?
For the sake of it, I'll say this to be a insight or perception, I guess. What you choose. We'll put that at just a straight DC 11.
Alright, both are the same, so I'll just pick.
6?
Ugh.
Unfortunately not. There's tension in the air, and while in a calmer time you may have recognized that kind of deeper voice that he has, nothing, yeah, there, you're tense, you're nervous, you don't recognize it.
Does he recognize mine?
That would be unknown.
Okay. So once the handshake is dropped, Julius kind of puts on this sheepish grin on his. Hello. Yes, I did come to speak with you about a job offer and coin in it. There's a bit of additional information that I did not feel comfortable sharing with your. It looks towards the others' subordinates, companions. I'm not sure.
We'll call them friends for now.
Friends, got it. So it has come to my attention that a companion of mine, well, sort of like yours here, friend of mine, has perhaps gotten himself in trouble with you folk, sneaking into your base of sorts, and despite my other companions telling him it was not a good idea, he went and did it anyway. I'm sure, I don't know if you met him or not, but he's furry, tabaxi sort, black fur, something of the... Julie just kind of like describes how a moonstone looks.
Of course.
And it's just like, I'm sure if you had the pleasure of speaking to him, I'm sure you know he seems the stubborn sort. So I wanted to perhaps offer the chance to offer less of me giving you coin for this job and more in return from my companion, if you would be so kind as to perhaps let me and my companions deal with a job dealing with the Manticore. I'm not sure if you heard that job offer, but we are willing to deal with that ourselves and hand you the coin for our companion.
Tell me, you've only just approached my fort. What makes you think I know your companion or I've had dealings with him?
Well, as I mentioned before, he got his way into your abode and has been in there for a good amount of time, so if not you, then I'm sure one of your friends has stumbled across him and are perhaps not happy with him trespassing, not that I don't blame you.
Trespassing, of course, is a crime, so of course there would be issues with it. Tell me, do you know why he suddenly felt the urge to break into our summer home, you could call it?
My memory flubbing, was it agreed upon with the group that this guy probably knows that what we're involved in?
Kind of was debated. We never actually came to a census on that.
The idea was tossed around, but we never decided, like, for certain if we think
For-
he or not.
You followed a scent of what you assume to be Hellman's kidnapper to that hole.
No.
That's
That's not what Nikki's asking. They're asking, did we agree that Julius would tell them that was what we were doing?
Okay.
No, not if he would tell him, but if we agreed that he probably knows what we're after.
Well, Grotus said that said yes. Some people said no. So, but then Grotus had a realization after you left that they definitely do, because we had met them at the fort and asked about Hellman.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No.
I mean, you would have an idea because you were part of the group that asked about Hellman.
All right. Julius, again, just looking very sheepish as he rubs the back of his neck, still has this pleasant, companionable grin on his face despite it. Yes, about that. We were under a belief that you perhaps had information or knew of the whereabouts of an individual that we were looking for, and Moonstone as well believed that he was perhaps in the location that he had stumbled upon with the lot.
The tiefling kind of looks to you for a moment. I've heard of this missing man, yes. Quite the talk of the town. I believe we promised earlier to look out for him for you lot. But I don't know if any of my men told you different. Why would you assume we knew more than we told?
It was... Again, he gestures to the front area that they're now standing in front of. He said, I'm sorry, I should have clarified this earlier. My companion did not enter through this portion here. He entered more in that direction. He points where the other entryway.
I'm well aware where he entered from, yes.
Yes, we're not aware that that was you lot, so we figured that due to the way that the individuals you had on lookout were acting, that perhaps that is where we could find the person we were looking for.
Kinda looks... I suppose that makes enough sense. For those ones there, we... Sorry.
Bless you.
We ensure they look different than the rest of us for more sake of their own camouflage than ours. We've unfortunately made some rather small green and beigeish enemies in these woods. If one can not associate with us or perhaps hide from them in darker leathers. It seems beneficial. So you stumbled upon this hole in the wall by chance.
Yes.
You met my 3 individuals who I had ensured to guard the place should goblins attempt to siege my fort again. You and your companions assaulted one of them and then decided to sneak into our keep by worry that you assumed a hidden cave would hold your gold and no other reason.
Well, to sort of further elaborate on that, I do, in this particular case, because honestly I'm sort of embarrassed by this whole situation, honesty is the best policy. Me and my companions, upon finding this other entryway of yours, when it was seen that you had some individuals on lookout, some of my more gung-ho companions had a more less desirable way of believing that we should deal with it. I personally believe that conversing the way we are doing now is the best way to go about things. So, yes, it was I who approached your companions and challenged them, saying that either if one of them would be willing to take me one-on-one, if they would let me pass, and I'm sure you saw how that turned out. But I did promise them that I would let them both go if I did win. And I really am quite sorry for that.
Kind of forms. You watch him kind of lean back from the conversation, almost arch back slightly. You watch him turn back to the fort walls, call out, "Roderick! Is this the lad?" Kind of see a man kind of like raise above the walls, still like a very clear injured face that has had some first aid applied to it. There's just kind of this, "Yes, boss, he is." You kind of hear conscious like, "He looks..." Roderick. Oh, such a pity. Kind of turns back to you. "Tell me, your fellows gung-ho to deal with my men. I am no stranger to how people are dealt with. What was your reasoning for your approach?"
Well, kind of scratches the side of his head. I'm not particularly a fan of taking a life unless necessary, and while, yes, your men were involved, well, we were suspicious of your men of being involved in who we're looking for. They were never violent towards us. They pointed us in the direction of a town when we asked for it without any further issue. I don't think that they are bad men.
It kind of looks to you, still this cocky, like sizing you up. It's almost like, it's like, well, I suppose I can understand your... You thought we committed a crime, and so committing crimes against us seemed valid. Breaking and entering, assault, alike. I want to make it clear, I'm not a criminal, Julie.
Well, I did not have that perception on you, honestly, which is why I'm here approaching you. I believe that this could be something talked about.
I appreciate your understanding. I also appreciate the fact that despite your allies' gung-ho-ness, you saw a much more rational approach. I am a killer, Julius, do not get me wrong. I have not earned these scars and recent wounds off of fisticuffs. But With men at your mercy, you did not kill. With men at mine, I have not killed him either.
A relieved smile comes to Julius' face.
I will make you a deal. And he kind of reaches over and kind of puts an arm around your shoulder, kind of breaking that personal space of yours, leaning directly in by your shoulder. I don't want this sort of confusion. I don't want my people to be assaulted or, God forbid, killed by those that deem us suspect, you could say. So I will make you a deal, and you need not worry of the weight of your purse for it. In hope of clearing my and my dear friend's name, I will release to you your friend. I will show I have nothing to hide, and he will be a free man. There is very little I want from you, though, Julius. I am not a patient man, and I am not a truly merciful man. I pray this clears up the issues that our two groups have had, because I warn you, should I find a rat or cat attempting to steal from me again, I will not show mercy a second time.
Julius gives a nod. Alright, that seems easily agreeable. You just... So all you are asking that I sort of share with my companions to not attempt this again, yes?
And I hope that this clear expression of goodwill clears any debts that you may have had.
Oh no, I do not have any doubts. Honestly, this is...
Well, I'm overjoyed to hear that.
This is very generous of you, thank you.
As I said, I am no criminal. And while your friend is, it is not within my right to execute him. It is barely within my right to hold him in my captive. So I will part with him.
That is marvelous. I'm very grateful to hear. Do you mind if I perhaps ask just one question, since we are being rather open?
Of course. You already have me in a conversation.
Well, I don't know, just the timing of everything seems a little strange. You perhaps got you know the location of this individual we're looking for, and we were sent to look for this individual at around the same frame of time. It's a little... if you don't mind sharing, is there an individual or who hired you for this?
For this?
Yes.
Why, the only people in town with gold for it, of course. I heard about your plight, as my men are near the sole defense this town has against goblins. And of course, when many of these miners are out of work, they talk quite openly. I would put force into perhaps finding your fellow, but I'm sorry to say, we are stretched thin as it is. Goblins to our north, northwest, northeast, a town to defend and not enough people to do it.
Ah, so a job offer that you couldn't refuse considering the circumstances.
Well, we were already hired to defend the town. I merely say we could not aid in helping you find your fellow. The one you were first searching for when your friend so nicely broke into my home.
Me trying to not meta because can he insight that?
Yeah, you guys had your suspicions.
Yeah, we did literally follow the trail right to the cave.
Yeah, you followed the bloodhound.
Okay.
16. It might be just how close he is. It might be so many other things. He is a constant grin that never falters. You are unsure.
Julius has a bit of a saddened furrow to his brow, but this companionable smile is still as he kind of gives another nod. Well, either way, I will keep to my end. We will not bother your lot any more than we have. That's for certain.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. Elman is lucky to have people like you still searching for him. I'd wager he's most likely dead by now. Tell me, what is the drive to continue searching for this?
This is the thing Julius knows, but I don't know.
He's your original employer. He offered more gold. You would know
And
that
if
he
he
was.
doesn't get it, does the totalitarian system take over the entire town?
You would know that the. Hold on, my notes are scattered. Give me a sec to find his name one more time. You would know that Delphus Farstone also offered to pay you if you found him before the. Well, yeah, you found him before the time of this civil proceeding was up.
So basically, the understanding is if he's not found, this could put people's jobs at risk.
People's jobs are already not there.
Okay.
Delphus wanted this all brought back to normalcy, and so he offered if you could find him, he'd pay you for it, just so that people could go back to working. But you also knew that if the week passes and he doesn't, after some legal proceedings, the mine will still open, as they can't. That's too many people out of work.
Mm-hmm. So he's needed for people to go back to work.
Yes.
Okay.
Within a certain time frame, and then he's not needed anymore.
Okay. Julius kind of sighs. It's just well, of course, partially like with any other job, we are being offered coin. I do not have much need for coin. But if he is brought back within a certain time period, there is a good number of regular folk who will get back their jobs.
To give you something off that 16 insight, because it was a very good roll, you notice as you mentioned the time period, there's this adjustment to his gaze as you mention it. This almost unsure just for a moment kind of time frame. Is there more details to this time frame? Are they merely giving up on the search after a while?
Well, if it doesn't go through, I don't know the finer details, but basically, a civil discussion will be held in regards to the mine and the people without their jobs currently.
Kind of looks to you. That grin fades just for a moment, and then it quickly returns. Ah, well, I can understand where that may hold issue. I will tell you what, I believe there is perhaps a chance for kinship here. You are hoping to help the town just as I am, and while I do not have the funds currently to aid in your endeavor, perhaps that could be changed.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, as I mentioned, between keeping 2 locations free of goblins, as well as attempting to hunt down what we can, my people are stretched very thin. There are less than 3 dozen of us in total. But if perhaps I were to receive monetary aid from someone of clearly high moral standing, perhaps those miners that currently don't have work could find work here as sentries. And if I have less people I need to keep watch on this phone, perhaps I can spare some people to aid in the search for this helper.
Thinks it over for a moment. Alright, before I eagerly agree to this, because this seems like a very kind deal, for those, you mentioned giving them the jobs of sentry, what of those who are perhaps not of capable fighting skills? Do you have...
I don't need them exactly for fighting. I need watchtowers. I need eyes. I need people that can ensure if a goblin raid is coming, my people aren't going to get caught with their pants. Now, of course, having people who know how to fire a crossbow is beneficial, but it's not necessary. If, as I said, I could supplement my forces with the miners out of work, that would be more men to help the town and help you.
Looking at him, does he seem to actually care for the people?
Roll an insight check. Another 16. You get a sense that he's not, like, against them, but there definitely is... He sees a sense where he could gain money without... Like, he could gain, like, more forces to expend, thus, hopefully, like, doing more for him? Without, like, with just no cost, essentially, if he's asking for you to pay for it. The goal isn't against the citizens. You very much get a sense, though, that he would be... he is reaping a lot from this bargain, you could say.
Mm-hmm. So he didn't feel bad then about...
He's not... Yeah, it's not... You get a sense this is a guy that's, like... He's definitely thinking about business and profit and what'll do the best for him and his people. But what's doing the best for that isn't something that's directly bad for the town either. You know, he's giving people jobs. They're able to work because they're working. He can expend more of his people to do more of their jobs. So hopefully they're done quicker and finishes their job.
Okay, so basically all of it in the end just coming down to coin, even if it means kind of screwing people up.
You get a sense he's not looking to, like, to screw people over. He's just... He's doing right by people, but also reaping the benefits of it.
Okay.
Kind of, I'm a good person because the situation, I benefit from being a good person.
Got it.
But you don't get a sense that he's, like, malicious about it.
Okay. Julius gives a small nod at that. And then it's just like, well, seems like a fair enough deal on my end. I'll have to talk it over with my companions, of course, but...
Oh, of course, and I merely am offering. You don't have to agree to anything yet. We would just have to see how much coin can be put to this process in hopes of aiding both of us.
And... sorry for my reiteration a bit. I'm not sure if you actually answered my first question or not. It kind of gets like a confused frown over his brow. You mentioned the one, hiring you was that one of coin. Was it perhaps crap name. What's the guy's name?
Delphis Farstone.
You met a
Yes.
Delphis Farstone.
Yes, that name.
Forgetting that name.
He will ask if it's him.
He kind of looks you for a moment. It's like, it was Farstone, yes.
That was the same individual who sent us to look for this fellow.
That is fair. From what I heard, he has much the town's interest in his prime directive.
Well, alright then. Julius kind of gives like a companion, like since he's got the guy's like all up in his personal bulges, he's
Yeah,
like a
100%.
companionable, gives a companionable like pat on the back. It's just like, one last question, more of a curiosity than anything, a little off topic. Where exactly did you get that name of yours?
It's how to describe. Many of my kind pick names once we get to a certain age. I enjoyed the way it rolled off my tongue. And compared to many around me, I found myself brimming in its quantities where they were lacking.
Julius nods his head at that. Sorry if it was a bit of an odd question. I just figured it suits a man of your caliber. Being willing to do all of this if it means not harming the common folk. Because I know if this fellow is not found, and Julius kind of gets like this more saddened look on his face, I can only imagine the number of livelihoods it would ruin.
I am not one to relish in the suffering of common. You need not worry about that.
Well, alright. If it means giving them jobs, now, this is again assuming we're not able to find this man. If it means giving them jobs, then I don't think my companion should have an issue with this deal. Alright.
How
You
much
mentioned-
time
Oh, go ahead.
is left for you to find this individual?
We'd have...
I believe
2 or
it's-
3 days?
No, I think it's more than that. I think it's 5.
We had enough time. I don't know what it looks, but I remember the discussion was we had enough time to go back to town,
Yeah.
get supplies, go fight a manticore, and come back. However long that was going to take.
Also,
I believe it's 5 days.
yeah,
Alright.
also enough time to get Goblin Army gathered and
Yeah,
attack.
because it was you guys only spent 2 days so far.
Alright. Julius says, we've got 5 days left. The plan was that we find him, bring him back in, everyone gets their jobs, and then, well, he doesn't have to stay there if he doesn't want to. It's more, he just needs to be there during this period of time.
Of course. I would tell you what, that a wage on 5 days, I could do it at... For the individuals I'd need, I would probably need about, let's say, 115 gold. If I can acquire that from you, as unfortunately the payment I am offered for defending the town is already stretched thin, I will put my best people on aiding you and aiding the town.
So you want me to acquire this coin within 5 days, and then you'll be willing to provide men to look for who we're looking for?
Precisely.
Gets a bit of a look on confuddled look on. Well, if it's by the end of the 5-day period, we won't exactly have much time to bring him back.
That is fair. And I would not expect you to pay it within those last few days.
How much was the Manticore job offering?
You have not found out a price for the Manticore at all.
Oh, got it. Alright, very well.
As I said, think on it.
Of course. As for my companion, did you want me
Yes.
to just wait here?
Please. We unfortunately are in a state of alert, and I would hate for a nervous man to fire a crossbow at.
Of
Give
course.
me a moment.
Oh, first, as a gift for your just absolute kindness, and Julius will brush his thumb over the ring and have a rose appear there, offering it. It sadly only lasts for an hour, as it is magical of sorts, but momentary gift as thanks.
He kind of looks to it for a moment. Smile kind of creeps up a bit more as he looks back to you. Then I'll cherish it for an hour. And he plucks it from your hand.
Julius gives a grin at that and just crosses his arms to wait.
Of course. With that, Moonstone.
Aye.
As you sit there, your disguised self having faded, you stripped to nothing but a loose linen shirt that is very uncomfortable.
And my glasses.
And your glasses.
Still wearing those.
You see, or you hear it first, a declared movement of squash, and you hear the of the door opening, and you see a familiar teeth.
I look at him dead on, serious look at my face with these stupid like glasses on.
Mm-hmm.
I say, "Oi!" I believe this is the first time you're actually seeing me.
Yes, I had an assumption, but I must admit your kind are odd to look at.
Wait. First off, when you say odd, do you mean that in a good way or a bad way?
You can take it in whatever way you like.
Fair enough. Anyway,
You
What's up?
mentioned a group coming for me, yes? Or coming for you, perhaps?
yeah.
I will admit it was odd when they did so by begging. But it was
Wait,
a
they
nice
actually came back for me?
change. Well, there was one that did.
Which one was that?
He kind of holds up the rose. The boy that does this.
Winston just gets a quirk of his eye. It's like, really?
Jew something.
Julius.
Ah, fair enough. I have made a bit of a gesture of good faith. And luckily for you, you're going to get to walk out of here without any pain done.
Moonstone just gives it an even bigger look of surprise at that. It's like, huh. How the fuck did you do that?
Well, I value the lives of those who put their lives on the line for me. Mercy for mercy, we'll say.
Alright.
Though I will admit, I may have lied my way through much of the conversation. While our deal was true, it's obvious your fellows have doubts of what I've done here, and you, unfortunately, would confirm those doubts. So, unfortunately for you, if you want to leave here, I'm going to need you to make a deal with me.
I'm listening.
You watch as he kind of pulls one of the keys, kind of opens the door, and walks forward. In this moment, he's tall and kind of looking down on you, and these like blue eyes just kind of stare down. I will give to you something you do not have. Your freedom. But in return, I will cut your tongue, let's say. Metaphorically, of course. You will not speak of what you saw down here, and you will give them no inclination that I, or what I, have done. Do you understand the terms?
Alright. Now, I got 2 questions for you.
I'll
Question 1.
allow them.
Points to Hammond. What's happening to him?
Nothing. And it's not of your concern.
Any way I can convince you to let him go too?
No.
Alright.
Now I must ask, and I will be very clear. I am more than just red skin and horns. There is much fiendish about me, so think very carefully. Do you agree to my term? You know what happens if you break a deal with a devil, do you not?
Do I?
Roll a religion check or a history check.
You have to get in a fiddle battle.
Yeah.
Ah, that would be amazing. Unfortunately, I do not have that tool proficiency.
Against the bard.
Also a
Rings
very
back
good point.
from another.
There, just bust through the dimensional hole in the wall. It's just like, I've heard a challenge!
23. You would know what devils are known for is their deals. Is their contracts with those of mortal wealth. You would know that a devil's contract is said to be unbreakable. And should you go against it, oh, you will wish it was just a simple trip to the 9 hells. To make a deal with the devil and to go back on your word is to submit yourself, body, soul, and mind to the very will of that devil, to toy and torture as he pleases.
Would I know if that this man may be possible as such things? He is a tiefling, not an actual devil.
I'll say with a 23 because he rolled hella high. It's certainly possible. Whether he is a tiefling or not, his form could be obscured. He could be more than meets the eye. He could have connections more than just a simple trace of lineage.
No, things I ain't got no choice here. Alright, name your terms.
As I state, you will speak nothing of help. You will not indulge or allude to what was in these cells. You can, of course, report on what you did and who you stole from. But any mention, any gesture that I may view as referencing that little half will violate our contract. And you watch as he kind of reaches forward with a hand. You watch him kind of pull a small knife and he cuts the palm. He places the dagger in his now bleeding hand and reaches for your hand. And should you abide by these rules, I will grant you your freedom. Should you not strike against me, I will not pull force or action against you.
And if they ask me if Hamlin was actually in there, do I just say I'm not commenting or something like that?
Tell them you didn't see anything.
Fine.
You watch as
Winston
he
will give out his hand.
holds your hand and cut the small cut across it. With that, he places his hand in yours. You hear a slight whisper of a tongue I believe you do not know under his breath, and you watch those steel-colored blue eyes change to a hellish red for just a moment. As he does, he pulls his hand away from yours. The wound is healed, perfectly so on your hand. Though not on his, funny enough. Then let us retrieve your thing.
Out of curiosity. Out of curiosity, was that the sensation of, say, like a healing ward or closed wounds? Like, can I tell if there was actually any magic involved in that, or if that was just, like, more showmanship?
The cutting of your hand? You felt the cut.
No, I meant, like, him, like, doing some weird devilish magic.
Of healing your hand?
No, like, making that, like, sort of contract his eyes flare, like, did that seem like an actual, like, magic, or is he, like, trying to, like, put on a show and con me?
I'd say...
As someone who's pulled off many cons like that.
I'll say roll a religion or an insight, I guess.
Or insight, you said?
Or insight, yeah. Since you're trying to tell if he's pulling one over on you. I thought that would work.
Alright. I will go with religion.
Okay. 11. You've never seen it. You couldn't tell one way or the other.
Best not to tempt fate.
That is an easy usage of just cure wounds and then prestidigitation.
No, that's my entire thought was like.
Wait, no, not prestidigitation. Thaumaturgy? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking to myself, I was like, this may just be a con. I may not be under any sort of contract, but I'm just like, I best not risk it.
I mean, he used a fucking hold person. That's a second level. I know. I love the idea that if it is a con, you're. Oh my fucking god.
Anyway. Alright. Moonstone will just. Honestly, it's like. Well, despite our disagreements, perhaps next time we meet we'll be on good terms, eh? I'm not one to hold grudges.
Neither am I. You kind of... With a kind of emotion, you see Squash kind of lean in, and she does have this large kind of rucksack, which seems to hold all of your gear. With me.
I'll take it and just very quickly just kind of look through it.
She has not given it to you. She's holding it and is going to follow. She has not given it.
Well, if I just make a quick inventory list, make sure everything's there.
Very well. She kind of opens it.
I'll look through all my crap.
Sure, just roll an investigation. I guess it's your own stuff. Roll an investigation check with advantage.
Okay. 20.
20. Looking through, your coin purse seems a bit lighter. But other than that, everything's there.
How much later?
You kind of look to it. How much did you have?
I have 44 copper, 11 silver, and 24 gold.
You seem to be missing 10 gold pieces.
I just kind of look at him like, yeah, my coin purse looks a little lighter than mate.
I unfortunately never saw your coin purse. You were using a disguise spell, remember?
Yeah, just letting you know.
With that,
I'm not getting my gold back, am I?
who knows? With that, you are led up the keep stairs, getting these last glimpses at Hellman. Brought outside, still wearing the crappy linen and none of your regular clothes, and presented to Julie by Squash and Con.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, hey, I'm actually surprised. Why are you here?
Looking him over, does Moonstone seem hurt?
Perfectly
He's dressed like a homeless person. Other than that, I don't believe you got hurt.
Not at all.
Nope. Yeah.
Julius looks to conscious of that. Another cherry grin on his face. Thank you for returning him to me.
I always keep my ends of the bargains. So long as they're kept in part to me, that is.
Oh, yes, of course. How are you doing, Moonstone?
Honestly, I've had worse. Just surprised no one tried to beat the crap out of me while I was in there. Yeah, give me a second. Can I just quickly put on my crap?
If you want to get dressed in the middle of nowhere, sure.
Sure!
Yeah. You take your time. John your gear. Conscious and Squash kind of watch for maybe a minute. It's like, alright, well, if that is all, I do have matters I must attend to. I do hope you'll consider my offer, Julie. It would be benefits to everyone involved.
I will consider it, yes. First I got to bring it up with the others.
Of course.
Sorry for the misunderstanding, by the way, there. As I just start, tightening the last bolt on my armor. There we go.
You will not be the first. I wish you both, then, a good day if there is nothing else.
Nope, that is all.
And a good day indeed.
You as well.
Squash, with me. He kind of gives a nod. There's a stare at Moonstone. Like a want. But
I just give her, the two-finger salute, just, the sort of, from the side of the eye to, upward, just so long.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, I thought you meant, double birds flying.
No.
Just got out!
She literally picked me up and break me like Bane did to Batman. I ain't risking that shit. I mean, the sort of, pilot salute, you know what I mean?
I get you. I thought you were gonna be, Conscious is I never said that she wouldn't hurt you.
God, no, I wouldn't do that. That's just the, sort of, just the two...
And that's the end of Moonstone.
While Julius and Moonstone are walking back in the direction where the others are, Julius is gonna wait until we're a good distance away before kind of speaking up the more cheery, companionable smile he had on his face, kind of falling down to a flat line as it kind of looks over at Moonstone. Well, on the bright side, he was not some big, large creature that I would have to find myself fighting or them down. It's more like the nobles I'm used to being around, so that was a bonus.
I'm just gonna stop walking for a second and look at Julius and just say, why did you come back to me?
Gives him a furrowed brow, looking confused. What do you mean? For all we knew that you could have been dead, we had to make sure you were.
Why don't you just assume the worst and move on?
And if you were alive, as clearly you are, we just leave you there?
I mean, a lot of people would have. So why not you? Why not any of you?
Julius kind of wince a little at that.
Why didn't any of you give these flashbacks to Grodus? Fuck this, I'm out!
Did I ignore that? I didn't mean to hit that.
Good.
Julius claps his hand together and press the tips of his fingers.
Yeah,
to his chin.
I know exactly the motion.
Well,
Yeah, someone believed me for dead, didn't they?
No.
Can I tell if he's lying?
Roll an insight check. Honestly, for the hesitation in your voice, Julius, I think you gotta roll at a disadvantage. For a second.
Okay. Oh wait, I still
point out only one of us wanted to.
wait. Actually, I still have Xavier's thing on me.
Oh yeah, you would. That's right. So yeah, roll a hot roll.
Not like you're gonna need it.
Sorry. Yeah.
So I believe them then.
Yeah.
I mean, you could choose what you feel, but you don't gain anything because of insight.
Okay. Just
At the very least, I would not, in good conscience, or he kind of makes a face at saying that word, good faith, be able to leave knowing that you're possibly still alive.
I'm having trouble figuring you out, but I appreciate the, for lack of a better word, rescue.
Kind of tilts his head at that. Really, I've been told time and time again I'm actually rather simple.
I don't know. I've met a lot of people who say they won't do the right thing and act all hoity-toity because of it, out to make a name for themselves and all that. Most of the time, they're just in it for themselves. The moment something presents a, shall we say, less than profitable venture, they back out.
Oh, you believe that I do all of this simply for my ego?
I don't know. Still trying to figure that out. But, if nothing else, I owe you a favor. Yeah, let me see that sword of yours.
No, you don't owe me anything, Moonstone. I kind of
I
roast
don't like having debts. I don't like having debts just handed over.
It's not a debt. I did it all of my own free will.
And I'm doing this of my own free will. Hand it over.
Hesitantly hands it over.
I'm just gonna very quickly add one of my little tinkering things onto it.
Okay.
And basically I'm going to make it so whenever he swings his sword, the effect of rose petals comes off.
What exactly you're tinkering?
It got gayer.
Let me see it, just to make sure.
It's stretching it a little bit, but this is all for flavor.
No,
anyway.
no, just let me see it. Let me see it.
It's a long one.
Static effect. I would say to an extent you can. It's mostly that the rose petals are like across the blade as you swing, not falling off of it, but it's pretty close.
Yeah. I'll make it look nice too, so it actually matches the design of his blade a little bit. Put the little rose on the crosshand, on the like hilt on the where they crosses. All right, yeah, give it a swing.
Just a normal swing.
Yeah, just give it a swing.
Julius will give it a swing.
And you see, as you swing, rose petals just sort of wrap around your blade, and as they get like an inch or two away from it, they fade, but they're there. Wow, you're really excited about that.
No, it was a cough. He just holds his sword, kind of turns his back away from Moose, just like childishly grinning.
Like I said, I owe you a favor, but
Thank you, Moonstone. Well, if that was a favor, now I owe you one.
no, you don't.
Yes, I do.
It's my way of saying thanks for coming back to me.
Could just say thanks. That's all I need.
This is just how I do it in my profession.
Well, I suppose if it makes you more comfortable. And he'll put his sword away. Again, just like biting his lip to stifle another unmanly giggle. And,
Sure.
Do you want to show excitement? I won't tell anyone.
No, as I said, it was a cough. He continues walking.
Cocks an eyebrow, just shakes my head as I follow him.
With that, though it takes some time, eventually, the party sees approaching two familiar faces.
Hey, see, there they are. I told y'all that they were gonna come back. Hey, Just immediately Xavier runs over and just kind of grabs the both of them in a hug.
Hello, yes, Moonstone's perfectly fine.
Well, both of y'all are perfectly fine. I thought you were gonna, and he just he goes ahead and brings a thumb over to his neck and just like cuts over the side with that,
You were willing to let me go there. I think I was going to die.
Well, no, I was completely confident, but the others, well, there was some discussion that happened, if I can say that much. But otherwise, it's perfectly fine. You're fine. And then he kind of like looks around back over towards Gallo and Grotus to see what they're looking like.
Grotus is just leaning against a tree with his arms crossed, looking at them.
He kind of like grimaces a little bit as he turns back around over towards Moonstone and kind of gets a little bit. And gotta say, Grotus is okay. He ain't a little. He a lot mad. So maybe give him a minute.
Yeah, sure. If he wants to talk to me, he can. Anyway.
On the flip side, Gallo, he had also been sitting by a tree, and he had been eyeing the two, both Julius and Moonstone, just to see if they have any injuries, if any scratches and bruises. But seeing that there's none, he looks at Julius and kind of like that watch that they did, just.
Huh?
Mom, you wanted to prove yourself. Good job.
Anyway. Alright. So,
What did you happen to figure out, Moonstone? Was your interested party available?
Did either of you find anything?
unfortunately, well, I didn't make a good way through the complex. I didn't find Hammond. So I don't know if he's actually dead.
Who was there? If anybody else?
A fuck ton of red horns, that's what.
Shit, they weren't the ones who took him?
Grotus looks over.
I
I'll tell
wouldn't rule that out yet.
I
They
didn't
left
get through
their
the
trail
whole
right here. Right to this very fucking cave. I highly
Oh,
doubt
that-
he's not in there.
I didn't get to check every last nook and cranny in that place, so I can't.
Well,
But I didn't find anything.
I actually have news to share with all of you. At the very least, yes, he is still a very highly suspicious individual. His name is Conscious. I cannot say whether he does or doesn't have Hellman, so that is unfortunate. However, he did provide a safety net of sorts, since it turns out we are going to have to sort of end our investigation into Hellman.
Oh, and why is that?
Yeah,
did he tell
that's suspicious. I think.
Well,
Okay, Xavier, that's quite suspicious.
well, as you could see with Moonstone being here immediately, safely, without the need of us having to go fight a Manticore, it was agreed upon that we should not go sneaking into his territory or attempting to steal from him again. And if on the off chance he does have Hellman, it's not a good idea for us to continue in. However, on the chance that he does, and that is worst case scenario, assuming, he did offer that if we can get a particular amount of coin to him within a number of days, he's willing to provide us men to, and he puts up air quotes, look for Hellman, and if the miners lose their jobs, he's willing to offer them jobs.
Grotus just looks
To
at
me,
Julius.
sounds like a way of ending a conflict without a fight. That, I mean, of all people, Julius, I figured you would have been able to see through that.
Oh no, he clearly only wants coin.
So, wait. He basically wants us to bring him some capital, and then he's gonna lend us a few guys to look for Hammond.
You didn't see any sign of Hellman in there. No no gear, no cells, no anything.
Unfortunately, no. I know that place has some homesteads, but we're going to find a way into it. If I know, I originally, like we had discussed earlier, it was originally supposed to be a recon mission, but after realizing that where I was and the fact that those guys that we let go were coming back that way, turned into a bit more of a sort of, if he was there, this was our only chance to sneak him out. So I had to take the opportunity.
Grotus doesn't have a very happy look on his face when he says, and just turns over to Sickle and goes, well, there might be a way to at least sort this out a bit. Sickle, when you were attacked, can you describe any of the people that attacked you?
She kinda looks and... One man, a blade coated in red, whistling as he moved his body, cloaked in black, a mask adorned his face.
Does that ring a bell, Moonstone?
No.
Did he have horns?
No.
I mean, it's not hard to disguise yourself with magic, so...
I don't understand the trail. And I'll look at Grotus. It led right here, did it not?
Here's the thing. Why did they have guards outside this cave, I wonder?
Back entrance. You always want to at least keep your bases covered.
Aye. With
Well, why
people
dress them different? Yeah.
Exactly. Without their gear, without saying that, hey, we're part of the Red Horns. Why keep them secret? Why keep them in bland, no-name clothing?
Yeah. Question for you, Julius. So, did this tiefling fella, what was his name? Conscious. Conscience. Okay. Did he, if we provide him the coin or the man or something, and they can't find him within a certain amount of time, do we get our money back? Did he promise that or something like that?
I've yet to go into details since I mentioned I would speak about the concept to all of you. It's one that we could turn down without any further issue, but...
I still think he's here, honestly. There's no other place the trail would have led. I'm confident beyond belief that this is where the trail went.
Well,
I'm with you, Grotus. Do you have any way to... Obviously, we can't go inside again.
So, let me offer this. Let's say, hypothetically, that he does have Hellman. With this agreement that is being talked upon, if he does, the reason we are bringing back Hellman is for the coin, yes, but also to give these miners losing their jobs the job back.
Yeah, I was about to say the hell with the coin.
If we go along with the offer that Conscious has given, these miners will have a new job offered to them, and I am very doubtful that Conscious has any intent in killing Hellman. Honestly, he had every opportunity to kill this one, and he gestures to Moonstone.
Yeah, I don't get the...
Can I be honest real quick?
Of
I
course.
mean, with some like him, we've been tracking these, mercenaries for quite a little bit of time, and we already kind of figured out that they're not exactly the best type of company. Are we sure that we still want to be associated with them?
Well, associated or not, we can always walk away.
At this point, I think I agree. We just fucking leave now. If we're not going to help Hellman, I have nothing want to do with these people.
Look,
One way or the other.
I'm all for helping Hellman. I believe we should find him. My suspicions, as little basis they have to go on, they're just a gut feeling at best. But if I'm correct, this will all lead to an absolute power in town, and in my experiences, absolute power corrupts absolutely. This is not something that if you have the ability to stop, you should just let slide.
Alright. How about this?
Do we have the ability to stop it is the issue.
We don't, but between you, me, and a couple goblins, we do.
So we're back on. So we're back on killing everybody in the keep, are we?
Wait, hold on. What? What? I'm missing something here.
One of our plans for rescuing you was recruiting the goblins to attack the fort, to kill everyone, and just walk you out of there.
It's quite a good plan, if you ask me. And look, my concern about it is if we're concerned with killing people that don't deserve to be killed, if we truly believe Delphus is here, not Delphus, Helmet is here, and we inform Delphus, shouldn't he provide the men to retrieve him?
Well,
Actually, about that, if it, again, hypothetical, if it does turn out that Conscious does have Hellman, he's been hired by the same individual as us.
Yes.
I mean, that's my point. If Delphus is putting on a facade, like I believe, he'll either keep it up and lend us men to come get him, or he'll do nothing, which would confirm my suspicions.
That's too much money to invest into two separate parties. One
Grotus.
already that has a lot of people to search for one man.
Wait a
Suddenly
minute.
A second smaller one.
How do you know they're hired by the Delphus?
Oh, me?
Yes, you, Julius.
He told me.
Did he tell you he was hired by Delphus? Or did you ask him if he was hired by Delphus?
First, I asked him who he was working for, and he
Said Delphus?
alluded to. Hold on, he alluded to the richer individuals in the town, and then I asked specifically if it was the one that we are working for, and he affirmed.
Grotus slaps his forehead. And you didn't think he might just agree to whatever name you mentioned?
As I mentioned before, I first asked who he was working for, and he alluded.
And said it, but didn't give you a name. He just alluded to someone with coin.
Xavier will walk over towards Grotus and kind of place a hand on his shoulder before looking back in between Julius and Grotus, and it's just, come on, remember, he wasn't exactly inside of the situation to where he could actually freely ask questions. You know what kind of risk there was going on over there. If he began to lead the conversation, chances are something bad could have happened to him.
That's
Julius gestures to Xavier.
Alright.
The fact of the matter is that we have no idea whether or not Delphus is actually the one hired them, is what I'm getting at.
Which is what I'm confused and, frankly, a little scared about. We're being led around by the nose right here. Really.
Well, how about this? Let's make a few assumptions. Let's assume the Red Horns, let's say, if they have him. Let's say we honor their proposition and give them, and get a few men over there and some coin and whatnot. Put in air quotes, help us find Hellman, and we... Hold on.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, can you do me a favor? Can you change the server location or something? Because I keep cutting out.
Oh, sure.
We can't hear you cutting out. What?
Oh, well, for me, it's just like... I can't hear anyone, so it's just like... for
Give me a sec. It shouldn't affect anyone negatively, hopefully. If it does, I can change it back. Let's just go EU Central. Or ES Central.
Thanks, Chris.
Yep, no problem.
Alright.
Oh,
Who died?
Maybe it affected somebody negatively.
Dylan.
Dylan.
Uh-oh.
Give him some time. 3, 2, 1. I'm fucking... God damn it.
No.
Uh-oh.
Oh, everything's alright. I don't want to do a break.
Oh, there he
he
is.
Good.
There you
What happened?
Hello?
Everything good there, Dylan?
Yes.
Dylan?
There you
Okay.
are.
Oh, that's good.
Hello.
Hello?
Did something happen?
Yeah,
You dropped,
Yeah,
man.
Oh no, not on my side. I'm getting a bunch of messages. What the hell?
Yeah,
Okay.
I switched the server and it dropped you, like, for a weirdly long time.
That explains why I got quiet, and now I've got like 3 messages
Yes.
asking me if I'm okay.
Yeah, you
Sorry about
disappeared. Yeah. Anyways, what were you saying, Moonstone?
Alright, so Moonstone's basically just saying, so if these guys, so they, in theory, have Hellman, and they offer to have people help look for him, and I put in air quotes, if we have a refund policy on that gold, we don't really have much risk in trying that. They may appreciate the service that we're providing more than what they'll be getting out of Hellman in the first place. If we do that, we might get it.
I have to actually agree with that suggestion. Speaking to Conscious, I understand that he's definitely a man who values coin above all else. If we can prove as a monetary gain to him, it is possible he may be willing to just hand Hellman over to us.
Wait
If
a minute. What,
he has.
As I say, we outbuy them. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Do we know how much the Manticore was going to pay?
No, you don't.
Well, no, I'm aware. I was asking.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was about to say, like, I've answered this question 7 times!
That was Keswick, so it's part
Yeah,
of the
okay,
problem. We're doing an
So-
accent.
Grotus looked up. So our new plan is that we go get money and hope that we can buy back Hellman for a man who says he doesn't have Hellman.
Well, you said so yourself. You don't believe him.
I know we don't believe him, but that's my point. Why would he change his tune simply because we have the money now?
It depends on how much Deltas is paying. If the Manticore pays more, we could outbid.
Yeah,
You
more
think we can outbid a man who has 7 minds?
Quick question to DM.
Yep.
Thinking back on the conversation Julius had with Conscious, when he brought up the deal of, providing 115 gold pieces and he'll provide the men to look for Hellman.
Yep.
Did Julius get any kind of sense that maybe on the off chance that Conscious did have Hellman, that he was sort of like in a roundabout way saying this is the amount that would pay off getting him?
He was a hard man to read. You couldn't really tell.
Okay.
Cool.
His offer stands as it was said. Is simply as much as I can say.
Well, I guess-
Okay. Because
sorry, keep going.
Julius will bring up then, well, on the off chance that, again, he does have him, he did offer another proposition of, if we provide him a certain amount of money within these 5 days, he would give us men to, quote-unquote, look for Hellman. Perhaps that amount he gave me is amount to buy him off.
That seems
like-
like
It's
a...
like an easy way to make 150 gold.
He'd be giving us men to lead us around to nowhere, and then we are, as Grotus said, competing with someone who would own 7 mines. If Delphus was in fact the employer.
Who?
On the other hand, it's not just gold that he's gaining. He is in a prime spot for constant work. There are plenty of goblins as of right now.
Well, we
Not
we could discuss this in the deal, where if his men are not able to find Hellman, we do not provide the pool.
Grotus once again rubs his bridge of his nose. If that were the case, then we could just give him the reward we were going to get for Hellman. I think the bigger issue here is, I think he just wants to get 150 gold from us. Or just lead us on a wild goose chase, 150 gold or not.
I ain't even focused on that.
Gold and 5 days wasted to
I
get
just-
that gold.
I just don't like the idea of working with them. I mean, I know it's for apparently a good cause, but they weren't exactly upfront with us when it came to most things. I ain't exactly the best when it comes to observing, but there's contradictions in what they're saying, and I consider myself an optimist, but even then, I don't kind of like the idea of working with powers we don't really understand.
Well, the way I see it is they taking their deal and just adding to the stipulation that if we can't find Hellman within the time limit, we get our money back.
That's not how mercenaries work. You pay them for the service. I mean, they still technically provided the service.
Again, we could work out the details.
I don't care what the details are. The fact of the matter is that whether or not we even pay them, and whether they agree to the deal or not, and even if they keep their end up with the fucking deal, I don't think it's worthy the discussion with it. For certain, I know my tracking abilities. I know the tracks led here. I know for a fact that they had they had this large cave, which they say was to guard their back door. Why not just fucking seal the goddamn cave? Why have uniforms off? There's a lot of shit that doesn't add up.
So then, alright, let me put it to you this way. Let's just say, maybe they do have him. Then, what are we gonna do? It's either they're on high alert, we can't fucking break into there.
I'm saying we just fucking give up everything and leave at this point if this is our options.
Listen, I don't know what your motivations here are, but Hellman's more valuable to me than just simple gold. Alright, we can get him back, I would like to take the opportunity to.
Grotus just looks over at him and leans down and goes, "That's all great for you. So you want to get Hellman back? Has he got more motivation to get him back? That's all great. So what's your plan, then? And it better be better than let's have these people lead us on a fucking goose chase."
I'd like to take this moment to bring up the goblins again.
He looks over at you, Kessis. At this point, Kessis, that sounds like the best idea we got.
It's a pretty good idea.
I don't know if it's... Listen, I don't know if it's a good idea to make a move against a highly organized force that has already been taking back this area from goblins. Not to mention that are already high alert. I think our best bet is to try to play along for now, and see how things play out for now. If nothing else, we take out the Manicore, or we do something else.
Do you mean play along with Conscious?
Exactly. We play along, get him the gold he wants, and then before we give it to him, add the stipulation that if Hammond is not found within a certain amount of time, we want our money back. And
if he doesn't give us our money back?
And, I don't know. At that point, we just go to Delphus or something. I don't know. Listen. That's a next step. I think the first step, though, is that we go and try to meet his demands.
You're not a very good businessman, Moonstone.
He's a terrible businessman.
You don't make deals unless they're definite.
I have to sort of, even if not for the exact reasoning, I do have to sort of agree with Moonstone's plan, though it does need a bit of fine-tuning, but for the most part, I agree with it. Sort of weighing the pros and cons of working for Conscious or working for... Keep blanking on it!
Delphus.
Delphus, yes. The pros sort of lean more towards helping Conscious, and Julius makes a bit of a face. I'm not comfortable, no, working for someone whose main priority is coin, but people like that tend to... Their needs and wants are simple to follow. And yes, it is unfortunate that that's his reasoning for doing so, but he is willing to provide jobs to those who lose their jobs.
Quick question, Chris. Did Grotus get the impression that the miners that were there to hire, they just open up the mine later? Wouldn't the miners have a job at the new mine regardless of what was about to occur?
Eventually.
Yeah.
These kind of things do have a legal proceeding. You know, if Hellman doesn't show up, the mine doesn't just go to Delphus. There's a full process that has to be done, and unfortunately, seeing as there is no actual ruling class within Teleburg, it has to be done in Vildervale, which is days away. So that's, like, you're looking at a few weeks of people being out of work.
So we're looking at a coronavirus scenario.
Sort of. It's only the people that were working in the salt mine that are out of work, right? The 2 to 3 dozen men and women that mined it Yeah, it's them that are out of work. They'll be out of work for a long time, for probably at least 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, but it's not like they'll be destitute for the rest of their lives, probably.
No, but 4 weeks without an income can be rough.
Tough. Yes, it can be rough. But Grodus
especially for minors.
Yeah, Grodus just looks over as like, so your whole thing now is that we're going to get the 150 gold so we can make sure the miners
15.
get a job. Or 115? Oh, that was 50.
No.
115 gold to go get a bunch of miners jobs. And we could just give them the 115 gold and they'd probably be okay till their fucking jobs came back.
No, he said no, clarification. That was just an additional thing he put on. He's for the coin. He was already offering to offer the miners.
To clarify, that is wrong. The reason why he wants the 115 is to use that to pay the miners because he says he doesn't have enough.
So in other words, we could just
so
give him the...
Rewind then. So Julius is just like... Okay, so yeah, Julius would say instead, well, if it is such an issue with that, then we could just individually give this coin to the people.
Which seems like the better solution, because the option we're looking at is to work for a murderer.
Yeah, but then we might get Hammond back, which is something I prefer.
Great! You go get the 115 gold!
Keswick will pull up in his purse and he goes, I have 7 silver.
Well, I got 50 gold worth of enchanted ink and paper, 25 gold worth of bloodroot herb.
Here's
We're already
what
got
I'm
a decent way
thinking.
there.
The way I see it is that our original job, right, was to transport workers, right? This little incursion for the sake of Hellman was something that we decided to do entirely on our own. And now, I mean, we already experienced quite a few losses and a whole bunch of other things that happened, all because of this little incursion of ours. So that's kind of the issue, is that all this is all happening based off of, frankly, what we've been going for. But I'm going to be honest with you, Moonstone, what you want outside of the entirety of this group right now, I think takes a back seat.
I will say, as far as the miners and their jobs, we cannot be handing out gold for their sake. We have our own lives to deal with. I'm sure they've had jobs out before, and they're smart enough to find their own jobs in the next town.
Hell.
As far as this goes, we could easily just tell anyone else who has more power to deal with it. We have enough information. It doesn't have to be our job anymore.
Like, I don't know. I just personally think we're way in over our head.
Can I put one more thing on the table?
What is it, Kessex?
If we go get the Manticore, we collect the reward, and afterwards we make an offer to Conscience in exchange. I'm not saying it will be enough, but there's a chance it may be. If he doesn't take the offer, I mean, I would have to concede and agree that we are in over our head.
So our last stitch is to attempt to outbuy him with the beast. That will hopefully be enough coin, which it sounds like it won't be already.
I mean, you mentioned he has, 7 mines, correct, but I doubt he's paying 7 mines worth of gold for this job.
That's true.
He's paying enough for an entire fort, though. If anything, if we take down a Manticore, the red ones.
So,
either way, if we get a Manticore, if we're worried about coin, since sounds like we won't be getting paid for this one, we still have that.
Well, I actually agree with Kessex. I think we should go track down a Manticore, at least for now. Once we fill up the gold, we can then decide if we want to fuck off or if we want to go and try to make a deal with this guy. So, I think that's the way that makes everyone happy, at least in the meantime. We can bring up what we're doing that gold afterwards, but we can at least agree that there's a Manticore out there that needs killing. Does that sound fair?
I also agree with Essex's offer.
That I'm fair with. We kill the fucking manticore. We'll decide what to do after.
See? Look, now we're all on the same page, right?
Woo! I did it! Fucking go! That was in character.
Oh, his eyes.
Well, we do probably want to find out how much it's worth.
Well,
Really,
we gotta go
at this
back and tell
point,
them that we're taking the job.
I mean, this is probably stretched, but we gotta have an idea.
People pay different things.
We
Sorry.
don't have a lot of time. We don't have to tell them that we did it yet. We can negotiate the price after we do it. You know what I mean? If we have the 5 days, we can get there, we can get the head, we can come back, negotiate the price, and maybe try to get more out of it or something like that.
No, I agree with Kessex. I alter it to the fact that we go there, kill the beast, then we say we'd want the job, how much is it worth, and when they give us the price, we just plop the head on the table and be done with it.
Just keep it in
Right,
good
well,
shape.
even the best case scenario, if once we offer to take the job, I'm having trouble talking. Say how much if we can get it done today.
That's actually a really good idea, and I'm kind of sad I didn't come up with it. Alright. So, are we in agreement then? That we're going to go track down a manticore, kill it, and then bring its head back?
That sounds fair to me.
This is the last time I will bring up Plan G.
I'm not opposed to it, it's just, I feel like we've already had sort of a quarrel with goblins, and not gonna like us, there's a few out there who's always
That's what
bad things about us.
I understand. Kessel would throw his hands in and go, onward! Which, by the way, I don't know if y'all watched that, it was a good movie.
Not yet.
Give me a few centuries when the technology comes up.
So, yeah, we'll go hunt down the manticore. I'm assuming Kessex has a general idea where we're going, since he's just wandering off.
Where does Kessex lead them?
Well,
You
I
just
don't
started
know.
walking.
I should note that Xavier has a pretty bright smile considering where this conversation went.
I mean, I heard a lot of rumors coming into town about this beast, Chris. Would I know about where it's supposed to be?
I'll say this. Roll an intelligence check. Just a straight one. Because while the rumors don't even say what it is.
Got it. No gay intelligence check.
A 9?
9.
That's
The only thing you would know is supposedly the goblins were getting driven closer to the road.
So we need to go the opposite direction then.
You could assume.
That's
Wait.
my assumption.
Gallo, no, because he rolled kind of high before, as far as like knowing about what a manticore was. Could he make a roll or something to see where they could possibly, like where they tend to nest or cave? or burrow?
Sure. I guess we'd call this a nature check. They're not really a religious beast or an arcana beast. So nature check.
Sure. Oh,
I am aware that they fly,
Yeah.
and I have no range.
oh no.
With a 9, they are this strange mix of flying predators and also, I don't know what you'd call it, but like whatever the fuck you call a bear. Like they're these kind of... They would want something that would capitalize on the fact that yes, they can fly, but would also be a defensible position, like how a bear takes a burrow kind of thing, or a cave.
So basically, possibly like just a high up cave. At least that's what he
Something like
maybe
that. You
got.
imagine with a 9, something open-aired, but that's kind of... That's all you can really think of at the moment.
Okay, I'll think about it. Actually, are there like higher cliff sides around this place? Have we given if it's high enough, we'd be able to see it from afar, right?
Around Teleburg there are hills. The Ferrolins is known for kind of these like slow, kind of like up and down and up and down and up and down. There is a mountain close by, but it is the wrong direction based on your previous. If you go north far enough, it gets kind of higher and higher.
Grodus is going to sigh and go, we do know people who know exactly where this fucking thing probably is, right?
Do we?
Yeah, they're little green motherfuckers that we just killed because they were trying to feed it earlier.
Oh, that's
I
right.
thought the reason that was going to be too much of an effort to go talk to them, that part of the problem with Plan G.
Well,
Yeah, no,
they
it
might
is.
know. They might know where it is. Or
Well, apparently
they
they're
might
also
come to
being
them.
killed by the Manticore. Us trying to go kill a Manticore fort might go better than trying to recruit an army to go kill a fort.
Oh.
Yeah, that's assuming they want to go talk. That's assuming they want to talk to us in the first place.
Yeah, from what you heard, the goblins were kind of taking their prey, or taking some of their kills and feeding them to the Manticore, though they did not live directly with them.
Yeah.
Well,
They
I
would
can
know the
say
direction
this.
then, most likely. That's all Grotus was getting
Yeah.
at.
So,
Roll an intelligence check, Grotus, actually. The roll is at a 12 DC.
Ah, damn it.
Okay,
11.
almost.
You know what? Because you got a nat 20, I'll give it to you. You would know. I mean, you came across a camp that was supposedly influenced by the Manticore. And you were just talking about your exquisite tracker abilities.
Yeah, I actually was going to say, I know where those two villages are. We can literally just go to one of the other two villages and find out what the fuck was going on.
Well, you also went to the village. You also know a village that is not occupied by goblins right now. That was under the thrall of.
Oh, yeah. We can go back to the normal village, yeah.
It's not like you still need to make some tracking checks, of course.
I'm all for that because I can pick up a bow and some of those quill arrows.
Yeah, I'm gonna need.
well, if you want some arrows there, K6, I've got one in my bag. Hold on.
I don't have any way to shoot it, but if you have something you could do with these, maybe like some way to at least help me throw them, and then I will present a handful of quills that I collected at the camp.
Well, like Grotus looks
You
over.
know,
Oh.
give me a couple days, I could probably make something for you.
I
Well,
don't
we
think
are
we'll
also-
have a couple days.
We're 2 hours away from actual town. They might have weapons there to sell.
I also have a bunch of spears on me.
Not my style.
Yeah, fair enough. Hand axes?
I appreciate the effort, but something with more finesse would be.
A javelin?
Javelins aren't finesse weapons.
Hey, K6.
Yeah,
This might be a little longer term project, but what if I could build you something that's attached to your wrist that you can use while holding other things?
that would be fucking fantastic.
In any case,
Either way, are we
well,
going to track all the way back to a camp that may or may not have been raided because the goblins know that it's empty, or we could go to town that is 2 hours away?
I think we should.
Well, it's empty because we emptied it of it. It's not like somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we should go back to the goblin camp.
hey, that's probably our best bet. Nobody in town even knew this thing was a fucking manticore, so what's the odds are they know where it is?
No, I'm talking about finding Kessex a weapon.
I'm sure
Well,
there's
I'm not super concerned about it. I mean, like I'll figure it out.
I'm sure there's a
Worst
bow at the
case scenario,
camp.
I could just throw these.
Or
Try.
Moonstone. Are you able to just carve one? You know enough about making weapons. Probably make a short bow from
That's
copperwood.
That's gonna be a bit of a chore
Yeah.
there.
Chris,
Being a
would that be something? Would that be something I could do?
Sorry, repeat that.
Can Moonstone make a wooden bow?
Wooden bow?
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean,
not.
it's not impossible.
Look, if we're going to the goblin camp, I can collect one.
Yeah, that was.
They were there. I just
They
didn't
were.
grab them.
Okay. What Mugalo was saying about the camp is that since we let a goblin go among like the shaman and stuff, like during this, well, how long ago did we raid that camp?
Less than a day ago.
Yesterday.
Okay, so they wouldn't have enough time to like kind of be like, hey, our camp was raided. Let's go back and get supplies. And
From what you heard, the other camps were a couple days away, so no.
okay, never mind.
Worst case scenario, if they did come back, we can follow Grotus's plan to talk to them
Yeah.
and see if.
Okay.
Worst case scenario, we kill a bunch more and get a bow that way.
No, I just want to point out the bow is not my primary concern. I very much enjoy using my sword over anything else. This has been my trusty tool most of my life. This is just, I know for a fact this thing has wings, and I do not have a solution for that.
Fair enough. We'll head to the goblin camp, find you a bow, and then we'll take care of things.
Right.
What are we talking about?
We're heading back to the goblin camp so we can use the trail there to see if we can track down the manticore.
Wait a damn minute. Wait. And he kind of like runs the numbers through his head. Right. Alright. Well, alright, as long as that, alright, yeah.
Great.
He just kind of looked a little psyched out at first, but he kind of snaps back into it.
So
Alright, let's grab the horses and get going.
What time of day is it right now?
It's a little bit past noon.
Okay.
to get our horses with Sickle, and I guess is Sickle still joining us? I guess we never forget Sickle's there.
She doesn't have anything else to do.
Well, I guess we're still trying to save Sickle's employer at the moment, so I guess Sickle's joining us.
Right,
Sickle has her reason. Sickle, while she's quiet, you get a sense she is very on the, if you're not gonna help Hellman, I'm not gonna be here.
This is technically still...
Yeah, no, and she's like, there is the, this might, but it's very, like, if you're not gonna help Hellman, she's...
Actually,
she has her reasons, and
as we're walking, I guess
loyal to that.
Grotus will turn to Sickle and go, by the way there, lass, I guess we never really asked, did you have any ideas how we can help your employer?
And the lizard kind of turns to you. Killing the ones captured him.
That was my plan too, but Blondie over there doesn't agree.
Neither do I, considering that we are incredibly outnumbered and are attacking a very fortified position. That is a terrible idea.
What did Sickle reply with?
Kill the blonde one first.
No, kill the people who captured.
No, but then
I
the
heard
reply
that
after
part.
that was kill the blonde one first after Grotus said Blondie doesn't agree.
Julius rubbed the back of his neck.
So we're on the horses, right? We're...
Yeah, sure.
Grotus
Yeah.
just kind of smiles at that.
Yeah, can someone drive mine? I got something I gotta work on.
Yeah, sure.
I'm with you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Swap around.
No, that's fine. I did have a question. I have the dueling feat, and that... Oh, yeah, alright, never mind.
What were you gonna ask?
No, it's very clearly written. I was gonna ask, like, because it says I have to have one weapon in my hand, but it's melee, so...
Yeah.
I was just gonna see if that would work with a bow as well, but it does not, because that's also... archery is a fighting style.
I've checked this. It does not work with a bow. It does work with thrown weapons.
Yeah, because as long as well, it says it has to be melee though, doesn't it? Once you make a thrown weapon, it's no longer technically a melee weapon.
Yeah, it says you're wielding a melee weapon.
The weapon is still considered a melee weapon, even throwing it.
I guess that's technically true. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember looking at the thing. It was like, yeah, rules is written, it works. And it was like, oh,
Beat
fucking
someone
fine.
with a longbow.
I was arguing about it with someone else.
Oh, get 6, by the way. You lost your dagger earlier, and Moonstone will just go to his toolbox and pull out 2 daggers. Yeah.
I did not lose it. I know exactly where it is.
Alright. Since it's
Does
not on
he?
your person, I figured you might need another one. Or
No, that's a joke. Thank you very much, Moonstone.
two. Alright.
Well, kindness got my dagger stolen.
So do we need a survival check to make it back to the goblin camp, or is that a
No.
freebie? Because we've been there.
It will take about 3 hours or so, I believe, because you guys were over there. Yeah, so it'll take about 3 hours or so to get back to the goblin camp.
While we're moving to the goblin camp, can I actually work on a design?
On the back
it's
of a horse.
difficult, but you can attempt, I
Well,
guess.
that's why I'm having Keswick drive mine.
It's still a horse.
Alright.
It's
If
not exact-
anything, I've been able
Yeah,
What
to
are you,
draw
what
on
are
the
you
back of
attempting to
buses.
design?
Alright, so the design I'm working on is the Crimson Dart Launcher. And so the way it works is that it's made up of 3 separate parts. The first part is designed to have 3 incision points into the veins and arteries along the wrist. And so those incision points are kept sealed by 6 rubber cylinders that are airtight. And so those cylinders have a metal string that goes through all of them. 2 metal strings that go through one set of 3 and another set of 3 on another string. So when you put on a special glove that's attached to this dart launcher, it has strings that are attached to the pinky and middle finger. And so if you move the pinky finger, it will move a section, the 3 cylinders in one way, allowing a vacuum to form and blood to be drawn out. Then if you move the ring finger another way, it causes the other ones to shift the other way, so they can be pushed out into a channel that will go over a dart or a cylindrical little blade. And that is the part to draw out blood. The second part is a reload mechanism that wraps around the wrist. It's a spring-loaded mechanism, basically. You just have to load it, and then basically the spring is going to continuously push it forward, but it's going to be stopped at the entrance point until it needs to be reloaded, to which it will automatically do that. And then the third system is going to have to be magical, because the way the darts are going to be launched is that there's going to be a track with little sort of tiny little cylindrical points that the blades will be custom made to fall into when they get pushed in from the loading mechanism. So they fall into that, so they get hooked on, and as the mechanism wheels forward at a high velocity, the blades will continue onward out as the track sort of falls off and those cylindrical points get released. That part's going to have to be magical because I can't run the motor otherwise.
Jesus Christ, dude.
I thought about this. This was something I thought about at work when I was just stocking shelves for
These
hours.
are things that you write down and send.
So, as a note, a dart is a small knife. How are you going on an arm-based mechanism? Where are you planning on putting the reload? Well, let's not focus on that right now. The first thing, if you are going to attempt this, like this design, the first check will be a medicine check.
Medicine.
Because you're on the back of a horse, I'm going to raise the DC a bit as well, because it's not an easy ride to draw on.
I will say it's not impossible, though.
The primary thing you're trying to work on here is the fact that the human wrist is very malleable and twisty.
Right.
Even on the veins, if that person's moving at all, if wherever it's attached in the arm slightly shifts, especially at the wrist, you need to find a way to make it so that those little notches aren't going to move or break.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it's more along the forearm than the wrist. I just said wrist just for an idea.
Still, there is the twist, even if you twist your wrist.
No, I got you what you mean.
I'll probably put it on the back of a horse. I'll probably put it a DC 19 for the first check.
Oh, Jesus. I might be working on this for a while.
You're trying to design something that actively draws blood from someone without disrupting them. That's,
literally
a very difficult thing.
On a horse.
Yeah,
all on a horse.
Why?
Can I
Why?
Because I need something to do with my time.
Dude, man, we are going to the goblin camp. Just live with it and let us move forward, please.
I just
In the words of Professor Oak, there is a time and a place for everything, but not.
It's too bad that you don't have Phil toy now, do you?
I mean, I can just try it later if I don't like it, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, yeah, you can.
I just might as well. Alright.
14. Your kind of initial design would probably tear the arteries in the wrist.
Needs to be reworked. That's okay.
I can take it.
I guess the blood out, if nothing else.
No.
With that, as you guys start to arrive at the camp, you kind of look through, seeing the tents remain as they were. The bodies, however, are gone. That's where we're going to take a break.
Okay.
Whoa.
We will be back 5 minutes after the half hour.
5 minutes out, so about 15 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
All
I'll
right.
pause in the recording, guys. Remind me to restart it when we get back.
Goblin encampment, the one in which, not but a day prior, you led what was practically a slaughter. You look through, and while the bodies, the wolves, and the wards still remain, the goblin bodies are all gone.
Alright.
Look like they were eaten, or were they dragged somewhere else?
Because they have evidence that they bury their bodies, so, like, did they bury more?
They've also been trading bodies to a manticore.
Whoever wishes can roll a survival check if they wish to try to find the bodies.
Grotus and I, maybe?
Yeah, we can do a survival check.
I want to do it.
Okay,
Hold
you
on.
can roll. This time I will assist you. Roll well.
I will do my best.
You already jinxed him by saying that.
No, I'm gonna do amazing.
Hey!
It doesn't take too long. You do start to find some trails. You find your way to what was the old slave pits, where you had found Sickle, and find that it has, from the dirt around it, has mostly been moved. And you can get the sense, just from trails of blood and the like, that most likely this slave pit became a mass grave of the ones that died here. The dirt is tightly packed and clearly made with the intent of almost hiding. The only thing really identifying that it's there now, because the slave pit is completely filled in, is the trails that lead to it, which will most likely be gone in a couple days.
Grotus found some.
Grotus looks over. Hey, it looks like we found the burial site for their kin at the moment.
I know we ain't probably supposed to feel bad for him, but this ain't a happy sight.
Grotus kind of shrugs. Fair enough. They had thoughts and feelings. But to be fair,
Julius will offer a prayer.
they would have done worse to Sickle if we let him.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate.
It's perfectly okay to feel bad about it as well. I mean, they are a loss to someone. So,
Yeah, but... And he kind of looks over towards Grotus and gives a shrug. Rules of nature, huh?
Aye, that's how it goes.
We'll die at some point.
Thank you for the insight. He kind of laughs a little bit towards Gallo.
I'll just like give a glance at the grave, but he gives it just a beat to stare at, but moves forward and is gonna aid Moonstone in finding just anything else that's useful in the tents now that they actually have time.
speaking of that, I also need to find a bow if I can.
Actually, Moonstone walks up to you and hands you a short bow. Yeah, found one.
Okay, then I need to find arrows.
Alright, got you covered. And I'll hand you, as I pull out from the toolbox of holding. I will give you 16 metal arrows, 15 red bone arrows, and a quiver.
Are those the arrows that were from the tent that had all the weapons in it?
They were, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, we looted this place already.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then never mind. I'm not gonna go through the.
Yeah, that's how I
tents
at
then.
least knew there was a bow here.
Yeah, we already looted this place, Aku, so there's nothing here to find, really.
This has been 1 week and I have already forgotten everything.
In my
Carry on.
Since this fight.
Actually, 2 weeks, so you're safe.
Yeah.
Well, 3 since this fight.
Yeah,
Oh,
3
shit.
cents this fight, yep.
4 since this fight.
Damn. Anyways, Grotus goes, well, if that's the case, I guess we better get looking for those manticore tracks then. Or the tracks that hopefully lead into what is the manticore that we're hoping to find.
Julius will end his prayer by the mass grave and then walk over to the group with a nervous look on. Do Manticore typically, live alone?
Do they?
Would I need to make a nature history?
Yeah,
I'm
the two who made the check before, which I think was Gallo and Grotus, can make good nature checks.
Yeah, remember, it's just like I think you guys educated Xavier on it. It's just
Oof.
I don't know.
Yeah, we had
some-
like 20s last time, but let's see.
I don't know what some
Nature.
sort of man, scorpion, lion shit will do anyway.
Grotus, as to that fact, you have no clue.
Well, I mean, it's a lion. Don't they have
Gallo.
like cubs or whatever?
You would know, for the most part, they do. They live alone.
Okay.
You would know also that the only times, you would know, I guess, with the 15, you would know that they do mate, of course, and while it's not a monogamous relationship, both parents play a role in raising the cubs, and you would know that the cubs do grow with a parent.
Okay. Then he'll cross his arms. Usually, they do live alone, but I can't say what the mating season is. But if they have the bodies of mammals, it's probably in the spring. If they are raising their own cubs right now, then there could be a chance that there could be 2+ kids. Otherwise, they should live alone.
Well, the babies aren't going to be a concern. 2 of them together might be a bit tougher, though.
If anything, we could at least scout out where they could be. We know generally where the goblins were running away from, and these creatures need to be high up in a cave most likely.
Well,
Hey, if I might ask, how smart are Manticore to begin with? I mean, I assume since they have a human head, maybe they're a little smart, but
I'm smart enough to make trade deals with goblins.
they're smart enough to speak, as far as I'm aware.
right. So the way I see it, I know that we're trying to trap and he kind of raises his fingers in air quotes, animal, but it might be a little more difficult than that as far as anything I know. What are we all thinking? Because I don't think a simple bait and lure will fix that entire situation.
The purpose isn't really to trap it, Xavier. The purpose is we're going to have to find its lair and just hunt it down in their lair and kill it.
Well, yeah. I was thinking that. It's just, as far as
No, I
securing
think
it and then killing it.
Well, I think Xavier actually might have a good idea there. Why don't we... I think we should do some initial recon before making plans, but if we can find a way to lure it out, say with, the prospect of an easy target, maybe we can fight it somewhere that's on its home turf and gain the advantage.
Right,
Honestly,
that's what
if
I'm
it's
talking about.
Grotus kind of looks over. Honestly, if it's living in a cave, that's the best place to fight it, to be honest there.
Well, yeah.
If the creature can fly, it's probably best we don't give it plenty of airspace.
Ooh, right. I forgot it's also part bat. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I second that. That's smart thinking.
We don't want to fight it in the cave, like I said. The lair is the
God,
best place to take it.
Nature.
Look, and on the bright side, somebody mentioned baby. There is one that's something to sweeten the pot with when we go to make this deal after.
Oh, yeah, like we handle
Sure,
the future.
Menagerie would pay a good amount of money for Manticore.
Yeah.
You wouldn't happen to be talking killing the
No,
young, right?
talking
Yeah,
about
no.
selling the young.
That's much
Selling
better.
in order to-
Actually, I'm not opposed to that plan, because otherwise we're going to have to kill it anyways.
Well, I mean, you got 3 options there. You kill its parents, leave it for dead in the wild, or you sell it to somebody who will raise it in a zoo.
Yeah, I know that. It's just, normally, at least in fishing, we release them if they're too young or too small, but...
To be fair, this isn't part of, the natural ecosystem. This is a fucking monster. We'd be doing people a favor if we just got rid of it before it became a problem.
I mean, is it a pest? I mean, if it's a pest, I get it, but I don't suppose I would be able to
do something like that. I ain't.
You know,
If they're intelligent, then the children can be raised, then I'm sure that they can be raised to not be horrible.
demonic
Yes, exactly.
monsters that eat people.
Yes, exactly.
And now you're talking about nature versus nurture, which is a conversation I do not want to have.
Oh,
Okay,
well,
for the time being, let's assume
let's
there's
just
no
go kill it.
babies.
Yeah, let's just continue the fucking
If
thing,
if
alright?
there's a baby, we'll worry about it then. Otherwise, let's just take care of the situation at hand.
Yeah, just one thing at a time.
And Julius has a point, though. And he looks at Grotus.
The point being, Gallo?
Is if the creature is intelligent, it can be raised to be good.
Grotus scrubs the bridge of his nose. Can we just worry about the baby if there happens to be one?
I'm with Grotus on this one. Let's take this one step at a time.
I mean, let's just agree. If there's a baby, we won't kill it. We'll decide what to do with it after. Otherwise, we're just having a long conversation for no reason.
Yeah, no, let's get going. Xavier, going to tracks or something like that?
Do I have tracks?
You can start by looking towards the north.
2 people can make a survival check if they can find track.
Grotus.
Getting in it.
Oof.
17. Though it does take some time, as they have not been used recently at all, there are the clear remnants of tracks that have gone to the north in certain directions.
For the sake of this, Xavier will be like, kind of like looking around, and he'll kind of turn over, and he's just like, "Hey," and then sees Grotus, and it's just,
I think Grotus was too busy rubbing his bridge nose to look at tracks with the discussion of Manticore baby raising.
Xavier will kind of look over at him and just he'll kind of frown just a little bit, seeing how stressed he's recently been, before kind of walking on over and kind of clapping him on the shoulder. Just, "You all right?"
Oh, sorry, Dave. My head's not really with it right now. And he just kind of mutters to himself, "Raising Manticore babies, what the fuck am I with?"
Xavier will just kind of look at him for a bit, and then kind of thinks, and then with just like a little bit of reddening on the palm, you just feel like this warmth kind of pulse through your body, and he's just, "Hey, all right, just take it one step at a time, all right?"
Sorry, Xavier. Sorry. You're right. We gotta move forward. Try to keep everybody alive.
No, it's just, come on. You said that, you do have problems when it comes to impulses, and I've seen that this has been clearly driving you up a wall, so if you ever need to sit back or something, let me know, alright?
Gross will kind of turn to Xavier with a smile and goes, "I appreciate that a lot, friend. I really do."
Gladly. Now, and he'll go ahead and kind of lead him on over to the area before beckoning over at the others. He's just, "Here, I see some remains."
Alright, nice work.
Grotus is gonna smile at Xavier. Like, "You're getting good at this, Xavier."
Yeah, well, given the fact that I've been following your trail for a decent amount of time, and you kind of know everything about the forest, I can only ever go up, really.
Yeah,
But
don't sell
even then, he
yourself
kind
short.
He kind of like rubs the back of his neck and looks away a little bit. He's embarrassed.
Alright. Hey, Kissix.
Yeah.
So, that bow, was that going well for you?
I've been trained to use it. Yeah, it should be fun.
Ah,
If it comes to it, like I said, I prefer my sword, but I mean, I can use this if I need to.
mind having with some experiments, by the way, after we're done with this. All this nonsense.
Always.
Oh, I got something cooking that I think you'll like.
I'm quite interested to see it.
Kessex, actually, speaking about weapons and such, do you kind of ask you a bit of a question? I've been sort of curious since I saw you do whatever that is that you did. With my blood?
Ah, that's, and I'll pull out the bloodied whetstone. I was going to say this for later when we had time, but it's more of a ritualistic purpose. My organization believes in the power of blood, and what you did earlier, twice today actually, I saw quite a bit of heart in. I planned on asking you later to sharpen your blade with your own blood, forging a ritualistic bond. It's ceremonial, of course, but it's, you did enough to at least impress me, and I believe someone should show you how impressive what you did was.
I just go a little wide at that. Me?
He does have a point. You do have a good amount of combat proficiency.
The combat proficiency is not what I'm talking about. You showed a lot of heart, sparing lives and standing up to things you were very obviously afraid of. It's a heart that pumps good blood, and you should put that to your weapon as well.
He's right. You got a lot of resolve.
Kind of rubs the back of his neck, face just turning tomato red right now as he looks down at the ground. I thank you for the praise.
It was well warranted.
He kind of like looks down to his sword. I'll keep that in mind.
Just, as I said, it's mainly ceremonial, but there's a lot of power in ceremonies. At least, I believe so.
You mentioned ritual. Are you perhaps a religious man?
No. I hope that doesn't disappoint you. A lot of my order does believe in, or does follow the guidance of Helm, but I was never one to take to those philosophies.
Oh, no, it doesn't disappoint me. I know, teach their own. I was simply curious.
Oh. The only religion that I have is to my blood and to the blade.
He gives an approving nod at that.
Yeah, but what was that one thing that you were saying, that one phrase? Into the dark or something?
Nalumbra Vincent. Shadows never win. It's the mantra of my organization.
Yeah,
It's part of
shadows never win. That's...
What language is that?
It's based in primordial.
That's a common phrase, right?
I don't know. It's part of the oath I took as a child.
He like squints and is looking really confused for a moment. You know, it's like not one of those like other one of those other like you know how like everybody has like a small lick of another language, and sometimes there's more common phrases that other common folk know.
Is primordial common? I don't think it is, right?
No.
No,
not at all.
and
Okay.
it's a lot of.
In certain places of the world, it can be. Specifically if you hit the edges of the world. But everywhere else, no.
Xavier just squints and it's just like, well, I understood it.
It's a. As far as I know, it's a phrase that comes from much older origins than I am. My blood goes back a long way.
Gallard squints at Xavier a bit when he mentions that he does understand this, and not the fact that he doesn't know if it's common or not.
Sorry, which one is common?
The primordial.
Yeah, it's not. It's
Yeah.
or like less than 5% of the population on the planet speak it.
Okay, but for some reason, Xavier knows it. Like, he understood it.
Yep.
That's why he's squinting at him.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I thought you were asking.
Oh, yeah, no.
I know that if needed, I can speak to you in that language. Do you also speak Abyssal? Or...
Abyss who?
My order taught me a lot of languages. Most of them ancient or dead or useless most of the time, but Abyssal, Primordial, and Draconic are among them.
Well, nah, because you see, what happened, Rap, is that that's. I might talk to you about that later. And damn, I always thought it was because that Mama said I had a list. Whatever. And he goes back to tracking trails.
Your language is most likely ancient as well, how you understand it. That's a guess, but it seems that your blood is not of your own either.
You did say you're unsure of what you are.
He seems to not pay the both of you any more mind, as he's just very intent at looking at the ground, searching for more remains trash.
Grotus is just beside him. Don't worry about it, lad.
You think they might know something that I don't?
Kinda looks up and down. Maybe. But we all got our origins, alright?
Yeah, just... I don't know. I think it might be something from my dad's side. But... like, you know, if the man abandoned a woman like my mom, then I don't really want to know.
Grotus kinda... Well, you already know I don't care much for my, biological father either, so it's a point I can agree with, I suppose.
Complicated blood.
God. That's the name of our party?
Daddy issues? You guys...
That's something we all have in common.
Grotus's daddy issues probably go farther than that, but yeah.
But yeah, he's just... Thanks, though. Kind of flashes him a smile before just continuing looking.
So, we continue on our way towards the Manticore Cave, Chris?
Continuing on your way to progress further and further.
I would mention that as we continue to proceed, Xavier would kind of like put out a hand towards the others. It's just, they're getting real fresh. Let's cut down on the conversation.
Gala looks at him, who hasn't spoken a word since for like an hour.
I would assume that there would be some passive conversation that would be going on within an hour of fucking traveling.
Look, I'm just saying, Plan G would have worked.
Shut the fuck up.
As you look
that was a
guys,
very creative
to the
idea.
trail.
Chris?
There is something on the horizon that draws your attention away from it. And you can see, not far away, in the clear view of the setting sun, seems to be a rather opaque smokestack. Well, a stack, like a smoke.
Smoke column?
Yes, there is not a factory in the forest. I realized it as I said it. You see a very large, it's kind of like a bit of a pluming smoke, pretty constant, of a thick black color in the direction you are heading.
For a second I thought we were heading toward a Wicked Witch's house there when you said that.
I didn't, like, I said it and I was like, that's not the right word.
Led by breadcrumbs.
Well, it looks like we got a smoke cloud up ahead.
Could be goblins.
Is that a manticore thing? Do they breathe fire?
I don't think so.
Oh, We can either go check it out or ignore it.
Part bat, lion, human. I wouldn't be surprised if they could breathe fire too.
No, that's a chimera. That's totally different.
What?
No, that's part goat, dragon, lion, bat.
Yeah, that's completely different.
Xavier stops tracking again and just looks at the both of you with most bewildered.
The world is filled with like really interesting shit, man. I'm telling you.
Did whatever fucking force that runs this goddamn place just run out of options, start mixing things together?
No, that one was actually created by wizards, but...
What was that about keeping voices down?
Xavier looks over towards you, and his face immediately turns red, and he just turns around.
In any case, is the smoke is the column of smoke the direction we're going?
Yes, it is
Well,
directly in front.
It's directly where we're going, so it won't hurt to check it out, I suppose. Gallo, did you want to scout out ahead for it?
He's already getting off the horse.
I'll take that as a yes.
Want to get limbered up?
Want any company?
Yeah, he stops walking, and he looks back between the three. And looks back at the smoke. How big is the smoke? Is it just like a little trail? Is it like a big woof?
It's pretty decent. Like, size of what you'd assume a bonfire to be, not just a regular campfire.
Okay. After considering the number, or not the number, the size, he looks back. It could be more than one person. Sure. He looks at Xavier and he considers it. How many of those do you have?
Well...
Let me see.
I think you only got one left.
Yeah, it's just like, he kind of looks over towards his palm, and there's like some stress lines of more or less, I wouldn't say cooked flesh, but definitely his hands look wore out, and he's just, got about one. I mean, maybe I could go through, but
No,
I don't know.
If we're going into a cave, I'd rather you save that. It's a bonfire size. We'll see what happens.
I mean, I'm sure, because technically I have two, but it would kind of take a little bit out of me if I did.
It's fine. I've seen this guy sling through like really tight places. He should be fine.
Alright, but...
Yes, that was meant to be taken that way. No, I will not apologize.
Just kind of waggles brows a little bit.
At first, I was
That's
gonna
your-
say it goes
that's
over
your-
Xavier's head, but then with
By the way-
that little display, he's like,
By the way, Moonstone just looks at him and says, "That's your one for the month, by the way."
Julius looks really confused.
I made an innuendo. Anyway,
Yellow just looks at him, looks at the rest, winks. Even if they don't understand it, just, I'll be fine. I'll be right back.
Alright, take care.
Julius, you want me to explain it to you as we cut?
Please
as we
don't.
fade to
Yeah,
black?
as you so, attempting to stealth ahead, Gallo, will you roll a stealth check?
"You're gonna do amazing. You're doing amazing, sweetie."
Will your luck continue?
Nope,
Fuck.
it won't. So I guess in this case, just
No, I got
because
it.
he's just like, oh, okay.
I got it. As you go closer and closer towards the cave, that light mellow smoke in the air, a different smell starts to hit the nose, not of burnt wood, twig, of flesh and bone. It is difficult to bear the smell, and even more difficult as some of the smoke hangs low. Find yourself coughing at points, attempting to stifle them, but your lungs cry clean air. As you get closer, a hand over your mouth, hoping it will help, you look towards what seems to be a small goblin camp. A clear spot where many of these bodies were. and all you see are its remains and cinders. A small campfire in the middle. As you look around, you see a few tents, a few bodies, and one large pile of them, all of which char beyond recognition, still giving off smoke and embers as some of the bodies still slightly burn. The tents and fortifications around still smolder and cinder. Very recently, this camp was set ablaze.
Ooh.
So it's not just a bonfire of bodies, it's also like everything was on fire.
Everything was on fire. You get a sense it's died down now, but everything's kind of still, that smoke is still rising.
Okay, and are there any live bodies to be found?
Make a perception check.
Right. So he takes a bit of his cloak and just kind of uses that as a mask. Let's see, perception. 18.
18. You're not the only one who rolled terrible on stealth. You almost rummaging through the camp, and you start to see these small little sparks leave a hand, a figure, ragged with coughs, a familiar goblin, a mage that escaped not but a day prior.
Shit.
And
did she notice me?
That's a natural. Wow, she rolled a 2 and a 1. So no. You watch as she kind of pulls through the bodies. She pulls something out of one of the tents, and you just watch. It starts to burn and burn, and she just keeps alighting it. You get a sense she, the
mage,
the Shama, most likely burnt and killed these goblins.
Shit.
And it's an opportunity to finish the job.
Okay, he will, since she doesn't notice him yet, and he had just saw that display, he immediately goes for the nearest tree to go behind.
Sure.
And, just... He's going to wait a bit more and see... He's gonna wait until she will go behind a tent or something, or just very much looking for the opportunity for her to be looking away and more distracted before he tries to head back to the group.
Of course. You kind of wait it out, you watch. You see she does leave one tent standing. She does enter into it.
Mm-hmm.
You are free to move as you like, as she's currently broken line of sight with you.
Alright, yeah, he's gonna head back. Not a jog, since that would create a lot of noise, but I guess a sort of semi-speed walk.
I got you.
There's this little, I guess this is my own little bit of nature, but there's a proper way to actually walk through foresty terrain and not make a sound. I would think that somebody like Gala might know that. It's,
we are just starting to run out of a bit of time here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, we'll discuss that later. But yeah, he heads back, and his cloak is still covering his face. Shit. And he takes it off from his face and just kind of dusts himself off a bit, trying to wave off the smoky smell that could start permeating his clothing.
When you get
not
back,
great news.
Oh no,
he's already back.
Okay, when you get back, Moonstone, you just hear Moonstone saying, "And that's what I meant by he can get in. He can slip through tight places."
Xavier, who was also there, just has his mouth agape wha.
Julius just has 1,000-yard stare.
Grotus is just rubbing his eyes, going, "Why didn't we leave the cat behind?"
Xavier's just flushing. Xavier's just flushed. So fucking flushed.
God,
wait, did I hear you call me a cat?
Oh yeah, you've lost all respect to Grotus.
Oh, I'm not a fucking cat.
Then stop acting like a pussy. Now let's get moving!
That was
Excuse
the worst
me?
joke you could have made.
Oh my
Excuse me?
God. Gallo pipes up before there's any more argument. Just, hey.
What?
Oh, are you alright?
I'm fine.
Eyes on the prize, y'all. Come on.
Listen, the mage is here. She burned down the goblin camp. I'm not sure why, but she
Different
has her
tribe.
own tent. She was... All the bodies that are over there are burned. But she is nearby. She didn't notice me, though. So, if we keep moving, I don't think she'll pay us mind.
Probably best opportunity. You said that
Wait,
she
is
was
she-
burning the bodies, you said.
It looks like she burned the whole place. Which is strange, but...
If she
we
didn't notice you, then how did you get all smoky?
And Gallo just kind of gestures towards the smoke. She
Oh,
burned the whole place. Bodies, tents, except for hers.
oh.
Not gonna lie, I'm a little curious to know what was going on in there.
It is strange, because her whole thing was to help her fellow goblins, but
She might just be in a different tribe than the ones she found. But
possibly.
That, or
but we don't have the time for this.
You
here's
don't want to risk having to fight her and the Manticore.
So we'll take
Honestly-
a primitive strike.
No, she doesn't have any mind to us. We don't have any mind to her, unless she's vengeful and wants to help the
Get into
people.
a fight she can't win.
Get into a fight to avenge those that we killed, but at the moment, she is outnumbered. She's run before when she realized that. I don't think she's going to bother us. For now.
We got other things we need to worry about.
It's nice.
Yeah.
He'll kind of give a worried look between Moonstone and Grotus. How are they both?
Moonstone is fine, although he probably would have mentioned at some point he is out of spell slots.
Oh, I think he meant like after that fight.
Well, that, but also that.
Oh, Moonstone looks like he's about ready to kill Grotus.
Oh, Grotus is already like he's about to kill Moonstone. He just wants to bash his head in with a hammer.
Gallo
Xavier-
will take
Freeze
them.
your fucking
no,
nuts off.
Xavier will kind
You
of
wouldn't be able
go
to
ahead
touch me,
and
kitty
quickly-
cat.
You wouldn't be.
Fuck.
That's my line. You wouldn't be
Both of you,
anywhere near me.
both of you, come on now, God. He'll just walk over towards Gallo and just kind of immediately kind of peer into his ears. Just want to help me go ahead and separate these two for the meantime. Otherwise, I think we should take a break.
Already on it. We should probably set up camp soon, anyways. It's getting dark.
Take
Oh,
care of
is it getting
Moonstone.
dark? Take care of Moonstone. You have Grotus handled better than I have.
Right. And yeah, actually, is it getting dark, Chris?
It's definitely getting later. You've got probably about maybe an hour or two of sunlight left.
Alright, he looks up at the sky. In any case, we need to find a camp that is away from. He looks at the smoke. That.
Yeah, we're gonna need to relocate a little bit. Hey, how about, since we're kind of warm on the trail and we remember where this is, how about we go ahead and set up camp sometime soon, right? Grotus,
Grotus.
you want to set up another one of them mock camps or campfire?
At this point, I think it's more of a bad idea with that goblin priest. There's literally only a few. Like, how far was that column of smoke
Like
away?
10 minutes away.
Here's the thing: we're not setting up camp 10 minutes away from her. Either we deal with
No,
her now, or we're not
No,
setting up
we're
camp.
I
We're
wouldn't
moving
s-
away.
Yeah, we have just about enough of sunlight to find another second location, and we can go ahead and start setting up. I just feel like, and he kind of goes ahead and raises his hands, which are reddened and not any natural way, and he's just, yeah, probably could use a little bit of rest.
Grotus is looking. I don't like leaving that goblin behind, honestly. I want to know what the hell's going on.
I know that you might want to get all ends tied, and chances are we probably could do some damage, but last thing I want is for her to do something big that we don't know about.
I'm more concerned why she apparently killed off a group of goblins and started burning them.
I don't know, but I mean, as far as loose ends are concerned, I think that's one of our leads.
I'm not worried about loose ends, I'm more worried about what it could mean. If the Manticore is near this area, and by the trail you tracked, you said it is, there might be more to this Manticore than we think there is.
The problem
Well,
is, though, if she does want to start fights, then are we prepared for it? And he looks at Xavier and his hands, and then looks at the rest of known spellcasters.
I can do a little, admittedly, but that's not kind of what I'm not afraid about, because I saw you and Grotus around her. Y'all did quite a bit of a number on her. Just making sure that we're making the right decision is all.
To be fair, rest might be a good idea. I have other means of distant combat, but in terms of spells, I can only do one.
In fact, Gallo, what did you say that she did when she arrived at the camp again? Or whatever she did.
What did she do? She pulled something out and set it ablaze.
She pulled what looked to be like another body out from one of the camp, or from one of the tent.
Yeah.
It did notice that it already had some burns on it, but she seemed to be burning the rest of it.
And other than that, though, she seemed to be exhausted because of the previous combat, or
not exhausted. Definitely, she did just have combat, but as to her condition afterwards, you'd be hard pressed to tell just by looking at her from a distance.
Since Gallo is usually the first thing that he does is look at people's expressions and stuff. He's a people watcher. Would he have noticed anything on her expression?
Nothing really.
Okay.
As a note, by the way, in the future, please ask about that when it is happening, not after.
Yeah. Just checking.
Yep.
But if not, I would have been totally fine with it. But yeah, we'll do. Yeah. I'll look to the others. I mean, we could attempt to talk to her, but I don't think
I do not think that's a good idea.
Chances are,
sorry, keep going.
Chances are she was some sort of leader, and I don't know, we did rough her up a little bit. Maybe she must have been trying to find a place where she could stay. I mean, did she go inside of one of the, after she was done burning everybody?
She had one tent. Yeah, that was the one tent that wasn't burned that she pulled the body out from, or she just went inside it?
It was partially burned. She seemed to be taking it out to burn the rest of it.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is, too, we're forgetting one other key aspect. If anyone knows exactly where this Manticore is, it's probably her.
Oh, I think we can find it without her. I honestly don't want to tussle with her.
I'd rather tussle with her now than later.
Alright, well, and he'll kind of dust his hands together, and he'll wince a little bit when he does so, but he just kind of looks over towards Grotus, putting his hands in his pockets. How are you feeling? In fact, how are all you feeling? Do you think we can go after her? Because if we do, we have to make sure that we decide on one side.
I mean, I'm running out of feel for the day, but I could still cast some more base spells.
I think that's all we might need.
I'm literally untouched, so I'm good to go out and run it myself if need be, I suppose.
Same here.
Same with me.
Magic-wise, I'm a bit tapped, but otherwise I'm alright.
Here's what I'm thinking, right? So, I don't know about every single other spellcaster, but, there's small things that we gotta do in order for the sake of magic to happen. Should we try to maybe ambush her and, grab her before anything else?
Yeah. Or maybe try to sneak up on her while she's sleeping and take her supplies before we engage.
Because it sounded like we're trying to interrogate her or something.
There's no supplies to be taken. Everything is buried.
Oh no, not supplies. What I mean is, we need to be able to take her down. We need to be able to take her down before she can do nothing, right?
If I can get close enough to her, I can grab her.
Alright.
How about you, Julius? If we go up to her right away and grab her, that even if she goes invisible, she won't be able to get away from us.
Yes, I could do that.
Right.
Won't be able to lock the pair of us down with that little nasty spell she used on me. So as long as we're both right up there, we should be okay.
I will say, though, that was a lot of smoke. I wouldn't be too keen on fighting right in there. We need a way to lure her out.
Are we also not concerned with the fact that it's possible to mantle? She did trade bodies in order to keep it at bay. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I like my meat cooked.
That is a very good point.
Yeah, don't usually cook by a bonfire, or you make a bonfire that turns into ash.
Maybe it's a meet-up point?
They were charred to no recognition. So, unless the Manticore likes to eat coal.
No, that is true. We don't know if it's nearby or not.
All the more reason to make sure that we don't have them both come at us at once, then, in my opinion.
Are we sure we ain't overthinking this?
Probably.
Probably, but like I
This is what
said,
we do every situation.
we honestly just need to go in there, take her out, and get some info from her.
Alright. Well, I have my own little enhancement thing. You said that you kind of trying to get up close and maybe sneak up on her. I might be able to help you with that.
As I'm saying, if you want to sneak, don't do it in the fire.
What's with the fire, anyways?
Smoke. And it's low laying as well, not just the top.
Rodus looks at you. Shouldn't really affect us that much, honestly. I mean, if the goblin's able to sleep in there.
No, what they're saying is it's gonna cause you to cough and crap.
Listen, you look for me to stealth right. I wasn't doing very well with the smoke there. And you may last for a while, but I'm pretty sure anyone with lungs does not like inhaling that after a while.
I mean,
hopefully it could die down by the time we get there.
Alright. If you're confident.
If need be, we could cover our mouth.
Hey, and if I'm nearby, I mean... Chris, is it a reach to say that control flames could potentially also mean the manipulation of smoke as well?
Yes, it would be a reach.
Okay. Well,
We could wrap cloth around our mouths and nose.
If need be, I could maybe extinguish the fire altogether.
Would I know of a good way to not, choke on smoke, as someone who probably works with a lot of burning chemicals and whatnot?
Mostly just usually a weighted wet cloth, or not a wet weighted, like a soaking wet cloth is usually what's thought best.
Yeah. Someone just pull out some cloth, get some water on it. Yeah, that should help.
Alright.
So which one of us are going?
All of us, sounds like.
The fact of the matter is, we move in fast, hit her hard. That's our best bet, I think.
Right.
I mean, if Gala wants to go in there first and try to see if he can't steal her spellcasting focuses, could cut off some of her options.
If anything, I'm just there to take out her legs. Make sure she doesn't throw another fireball at all of you.
We never got fireball.
Well, she threw something.
She threw meteorites for shots.
Meteorites. Okay, whatever it was, meteorites.
And that was specifically at you.
Yeah. She can throw far range, and it could probably deal damage to more than just one.
That's fair. As I said, I can move in first, going hard. See if I can grab her.
Alright, so your distraction while the rest of us move in.
You still want my assistance?
Probably best if you can aid it there, Julius. You go in from one side, I'll come in from the other. Try to pinch at her.
Question: are we trying to approach this stealthily or just straight up gung ho?
Probably gung-ho. There's no way all 6 of us are probably going to be able to sneak up there with any sort of proficiency. Especially when he looks at himself and Julius. Those of us a little more clanky in nature.
Well,
I could help a little.
Yeah, I was about to say, why don't we just have Julius go in, try to steal her spellcasting components.
I mean, Gallo?
And that way, sorry. Listen, it's been a long day. Why don't we have Gallo go in there, steal some of her spellcasting components to cut off some of her options, and then take her down?
And if he gets caught with his pants down and gets frozen and killed while we're waiting?
We rush her. We're not gonna be that far off. We're just gonna, if she's in a tent, we can get
I'd
around the
rather
perimeter of the
just
keep.
go right in, because as soon as we get in, she might turn invisible immediately, and we need to move fast.
Exactly. We're better off just rushing her off the bat.
Alright,
If anything, the smoke will help us. Maybe look.
so we're in agreement. We're just going. Ooh,
Alright,
wait!
sure.
I got an idea, though. I can actually make y'all a little stronger as well, if you're really gonna go ahead and try to grab her.
Grotus got us. I don't want to worry about it, lad. When I swell up, I'm probably as strong as I need to be. I already get advantage
Really?
when I'm giant strength.
Swell up.
advantage!
Also, if I focus, I can channel more strength.
Shit. Oh, y'all don't need me. Alright. And he just kind of gives you both a companionable slap on the shoulder.
Last question. Are we keeping her alive afterwards?
I don't care to. But,
I guess
Don't
we
you
can
think
play
she-
it by ear at the moment.
yeah. Otherwise, I think she might have a little bit of a grudge on us for, fucking up whatever she's doing twice. If this succeeds.
And maybe you should mention while trying to grab her, we're here to talk. And while doing so, we
oh,
should
that's
be
gonna be a
aware.
great way to convince her that we do.
We'll see. Either way, let's go.
Sure thing.
Alright.
So, making your way back, heading towards the burned campsite, you all are attempting to proceed non-stealthily.
Gala will do stealthily.
Yeah,
think-
I try to do stealthily as we approach.
I
For
think
sure.
on the way there, like, getting there stealthily, but otherwise...
I mean, I guess it can't hurt to attempt till we're in range of running anyways.
Yeah.
For sure.
Gala will be at a distance anyways for his bow.
16.
24.
Oof, 3.
Assuming we all have masks now.
Yeah,
you'll have
And
some matter
5.
of
Clank, clank from me and
Yep,
Julius.
clankety clank, clankety clank clank.
Which,
I'm a clank clank boy too.
Grotus, you
don't
get
see me
thirsty
doing
and
that shit.
drink all the water in the cloth, and now you're coughing. No, I'm kidding. You're clanking around. As you all progress, you see the same sight Gallo did. No sign, however, the goblin, though the tent is still untouched.
I think she's in there.
Anyway, it's in there.
most likely
I was
That's
that's...
where
thinking-
she went last.
It sounds like she may have been resting. So,
Yeah, there, she set a trap, but we'll find out.
So, count of 3, Godus and I rush in.
Sounds like a plan.
Grotus will take a quick perception just to see if there is any kind of trap possibly laid out.
That would
Just
be
don't-
investigation, not perception.
Okay, investigation. I can do a quick investigation to take a quick peek.
how big is
Don't
this
make
clearing?
Oof.
You could ask Moonstone.
It is
Well, you can
about-
too. I mean, it's not like
about like 90 square feet.
Would you like to ask Moonstone?
Sure, Grotus will
I'm
go.
not thinking.
Moonstone, do you want to see if there's anything up there as well?
I'll let one other person make an investigation check.
Sure, I'll look around.
11.
Should have
You know
let
it's-
Xavier do it.
There are 3 entrances into the camp. The rest is barred by these simple, about 8 foot high wooden walls made of stakes. Atop most of the wooden walls, you do see some remnant of a skull or two. There is a south entrance, which is kind of like the furthest away from the tent. There is a west one that is like right next to it, and there is an east one that's kind of in the middle.
Oh, I'm gonna take a guess.
Or you can
South.
jump the fence. It's only 8, so it's not terrible. Would it be a small athletics check?
You could probably jump over the fence. Probably not a trap on those, besides the obvious.
Probably best for me. I can make that jump easily enough.
Sure, but you better rush in there. You're gonna make a lot of noise doing it.
We're going to be making a lot of noise either way, honestly. But
Alright, you go ahead.
Whatever we do, we ought to do quickly.
Aye. So, Grodus will activate his rune of his frost rune to up his strength.
Sure thing.
Julius will channel divinity, peerless athlete.
Sure thing.
And
you guys are just rushing in whichever way you can.
Yeah, we'll dash in.
Okay.
And Gallo's gonna
Whirling.
stay close by the tree line, where like still is visible and within range of short bow, but not within sight.
And Grodus will probably hop over the 8-foot area just because it's the least likely expected spot.
Looks cool.
Sure. For the sake of it, just make a athletics check with your advantage.
Parkour.
I doubt you'll fail, but who knows?
Parkour.
27.
So, yeah, you're fine. It's like a half step. It's like a hurdle.
Man, it looks so cool.
Julius, are you? Yeah, but it also like there's like a clear impact sound. Julius, you're just running in through the front.
I'll take the safer route and take the wall.
For sure. Sorry, what'd you say?
Take the wall.
You're gonna try to do a wall as well? Sure. Roll an athletics check.
With advantage.
Yep.
For me, it's almost
a bit harder
over
for
at
you
my
because
height.
you do well enough. It was a bit harder for you because you weren't as large as Grodus. But you both climb your way over the fence. You can see the tent. It's about like 60 feet from you still.
Still running
So
forward.
so this is a typical goblin tent, right? It's not like huge.
Yeah.
Given Grodus'
No.
great size, would he be able to run up, just grab the tent, and kind of like sack it?
Sack it?
Yeah, like grab it.
you
So,
could
like,
Give him a big old hug.
Like try to make it like a sack?
yeah, like try to like sweep it up and kind of like consider I'm 13 and a half feet tall,
Sure.
right?
She
You-
is...
Run towards it. It is a bit like larger, but that's definitely something you could try. For the sake of this, roll an athletics check.
Okay.
Get him with advantage.
25.
25.
Hey.
You grab it kind of like by two ends and attempt to kind of swoop under it to kind of like make a sack and scoop up whatever's in it. Roll me a 1d4.
Ooh.
Bear trap.
Yeah, I was about to say. I got
As
cut
you
off, but just
swing
Gallo just
with
like
all
don't
your
make
might,
it
you feel one of your arms hit something solid. You try to push through it, and whatever it is doesn't move. There's a point where you honestly feel like like you're starting to actually hurt more than whatever you're doing is. As you hit into it, you hear this, and you kind of there's just a swelling on one of your wrists where it made impact. The tent kind of just falls over place on top of what you see now, this strange spherical shape.
Xavier recoils sympathetically.
Can I see the spherical shape?
You can kind of see as the tent like flattens out. There is a clear spherical shape, and then this strange, almost like 6 foot tall kind of I don't know what you'd call it. It looks just like a phallic object. As the tent is draped, I don't know. The tent is draped over it, so you can't tell.
It's a scepter.
It's a scepter. Yeah,
Julius is immediately on alert, looking around the surroundings.
for sure. The rest of you, are you just entering the camp regular?
I mean, might as well scale the wall.
Roll an athletics check.
Do I need to?
There
since I
are
have cactus?
there are points at the top. Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'll say you have advantage on it.
Okay.
What's
Athletics, you said?
Yeah.
Alright.
what's the distance again from the tent all the way to the tree line?
I mean, there's trees all around. There's a wall around it, though.
Okay,
17
so
you're
like,
fine, Michael.
so I wouldn't be able to.
Sure. There are stakes at the top.
I'm just basically I'm still trying to stay hidden,
Sure,
and that's why I'm in the tree line right now, but is that too far away for me to make a shot?
Well, like, if you're not entering into the camp, it's a walled encampment.
Okay.
Like, you can't see into it. You can see Grodus, because, of course, he's 12 feet tall right now.
Okay, I will climb the wall, but I'm gonna stay up on the wall for now.
Okay, it is a staked wall. Like, it's points.
Okay. Yeah.
Xavier just looks at Gallo nervously, like,
He'll see the points and just like, nah, this isn't a good place, and then he'll jump down, but he's gonna also still stay within distance, so...
Sure, it's fine, it's whatever, we'll just go through that.
Good elbows.
22.
You're fine.
He goes, he hops over like a gymnast, and sticks the landing 10 out of 10.
I like how there's probably nothing wrong with the entrances to this place, but we are just so paranoid we just jump.
You know what?
It doesn't matter because I was gonna say Keswick's just gonna go through the.
Oh my!
Xavier's
For the
going to
sake of it,
try because
Keswick.
he's inspired by Gallo's wonderful performance, and here we are.
Xavier, roll me a 1d4. Or actually, roll me a 1d6.
He tried to do the backflip that he did.
Xavier, roll me a 1d6. Kessex, make me... Okay. Xavier, you slip, and one of the stakes actually kind of, like, pierces the ribs. It is incredibly painful. You kind of manage to, like, pull yourself off of it.
Ow.
Oh god, are you alright?
Kessex, make a dex save.
Hey, we were
There was
right!
something.
For everybody else, it sounds like he's muttering, but for Keswick, you just
17.
hear...
As you walk forward, you kind of step within like immediately that entrance, and you feel this kind of like something tightening around your foot. With this exquisite like reaction, you pull it back, and you see this like snare trap go up and just hang in the air, and then vanish.
Ow! Do I know what spell that was?
Dylan, your mic
It
is
would probably be the snare
staticky.
spell.
Yep. Hey, I know that spell.
But
Also,
yeah, Xavier
where's this bitch?
Xavier is leaning forward, spewing obscenities in a language that a lot of you cannot understand.
Julius will go over and give Forley on it.
Sure.
Can I go over to the object and pull the tent off of whatever the fuck this is?
Sure.
Yeah, how much damage did I take?
6 damage. You essentially got stabbed by a spear.
Now it's
Oh my...
Moonstone, as you kind of reach forward and pull the whatever remains of the tent off, you see this strange, almost like slightly transparent dome. Inside it, familiar female goblin, now awake, staring towards you. And as you kind of pull the tent off of that protrusion, you see this one single stake, and at the top of it, a massive humanoid-like head. The head of a manticore. God damn it. And that's where we'll end for this session.
Shit!
Grab the head and run.
Now, I was about to say, she isn't for us. Like, this is almost... Our adventure is almost done. We just grab it and leave. And just be like, hey, we're